We do have about 54,000 worth of invoices right here. And they go from August and September yet, the dates on these invoices. We just need you to approve this contract so we can get these bills paid. What we want to do going forward, that's up to you guys. If you want to send a letter canceling, whatever you want to do here.
So the previous contract, the not to exceed amount for 2018 was how much?
40.
$40,000. And he's already billed us for almost 40,000, or we've almost paid that entire amount.
Sounds like 1,000 left.
Okay.
I did send you a spreadsheet showing that we really haven't spent that much on San Souci this year. We have spent more in the past years. But
Okay.
it does sound like a lot because it's all coming at one time.
So the problem is this has been ongoing, not just this year, it was the previous year, it was the year before that. And so George San Souci doesn't seem to understand that when you send us a contract of not to exceed, it's not to exceed. And so he keeps exceeding and we keep paying him. And so I think at this point, I'd like for us to have a phone conversation with Mr. San Souci and try to get this figured out and let him know that we realize that he's done services for us, but basically he's been doing those services for free because he's way outside of his contract. So some of those may have been last year's bills, I don't know, I mean,
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's the,
or some of the previous bills that we paid may have been
They were
from the
last
previous year.
We paid a couple this year, but we paid them off of last year's PO.
Okay,
okay, which is what this is.
So
right?
we encumbered the 40,000 that we signed for this year, and we've exceeded that, not including those bills.
okay. So anyway, I just think that it's time for us to quit writing letters, that we need to have a phone conversation with him and try to come to an understanding that, hey, going forward, we need to make sure that we're operating within this not to exceed contract. So, I'm not sure what direction he's been given. I think thinks that he's working for Chris.
I can't answer that. Don't know that for sure.
And so that seems to be an issue there as well, but anyway, I know we signed a contract, but he's representing the assessors right?
Yes.
So anyway, it's just, we're paying the bills, he needs to be working for Cole County, all of us, and so anyway, that's kind of where I'm at.
So the 58 though is money that was spent in last year's contract mainly, or?
No.
No, it's just to be able to get the September and August bills paid, basically.
These two bills here.
Is there more coming? I don't
Yeah.
know what he did, and
There hasn't been any more meetings, so I don't think there's any more coming.
I mean, I guess he's an attorney.
San Souci?
Yeah.
No, he's an
Okay.
engineer. He's actually the expert witness.
Right.
And Dick Reed's the attorney. It's
So-
just,
Okay.
a lot of times, the expert witness is paid through the attorney's office.
Right.
But in this case, there's separate contracts.
So our contract for this year was $40,000. And this 58, is that this year also?
an additional
Yeah.
58, yes.
Additional 58, so we've already paid 39. We have $1,000 left, and he's got invoices for another 58. So, and this isn't the first time that this has happened. I mean, it happened last year, it happened the previous year. I mean, we get these contracts and he just keeps on billing us and we keep on paying it, but
I'll be the 54 is to, like, today, or he still has,
No,
That's through August.
September.
October.
So it looks like that's only through, yeah, September the 20th.
So he has our contract though, which we signed not to exceed $40,000.
Right.
And he still exceeded
And that's why we're not paying these.
$18,000 more.
Yeah, that's why we're not paying these until we get another contract, if you so,
Then what's the purpose of having a contract if it doesn't mean anything?
And it does look like in his letter that has Franklin County backed out of the process.
I think they have.
So there were 19 counties, and it looks like Franklin County has pulled out of it, so it's now being divided by 18 counties.
Have they called, like, asking for payment at all?
No.
we are one of the bigger.
Yes.
We're
Be bigger.
23%, I think, is 23.6%, I think is our share.
Oh,
It's on the,
yeah. The closest to 23 is Cade County at 17. When I'm talking about that, I'm talking percent of the
Right.
total. And then you go way down to Randolph with 8.
Well, if our contract was for 40 and he signed that, we signed it, then I think we should just
Pay 40
Pay-
and that's it.
pay 40, I mean, and because he's exceeded, the amount that was in a contract that he signed.
And we can send them a letter to
I,
that effect with the
I'm
invoice,
just,
if
I
that's what you guys
can't
tell us.
see paying $18,000 more.
What he should've done-
$54,000 more.
Well, yeah, I just don't,
What he should have done is tracked his time and figured out how much he's charging. Then when he hit the max in the contract,
Should have
Yeah.
renegotiated.
renegotiated it for more. But he didn't do that, he went ahead and did the work anyway, and then tries to bill us for it.
well, to me, that's just stupid.
It is stupid.
Yeah, so,
And, you know, maybe he needs to understand the consequences of that, which is you've been working for free.
yeah, we can thank him. I'll send him a Christmas card.
You
Well,
can
but-
send him snowflakes, Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish it was that easy, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been working for free, eat it. But at the same time, we got an ongoing lawsuit that the school district stands to lose a ton of money, and so, we need to have a conversation with Sans Souci, but then we also need to bring all our parties back involved and have a meeting, in regards to that too. But we need to figure out what's going on with Sans Souci, where we're going in the future. Chris doesn't give us any updates. We don't know what's going on. We just keep getting bills and
I
writing
already
checks.
sent you that one that I sent.
Right,
Last month.
right, but that was from the state tax commission, right?
It's on the 2013 case.
Right.
And John Ruth, I included John Ruth's
Right.
updates for people.
And we're not sure what kind of communication Chris has had with them.
Mhm.
Not that he can.
Well, but our direction to Sans Souci was, don't do anything but 2013.
Sure.
Then what, do we know if these bills are even in
It's-
regards
they
to
are for
2013?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they
It
are.
does say.
They had a hearing with the state tax commission on September the 20th.
So, I just got lots of questions for him. Why do you keep testifying? Isn't there documentation of your testifying? Why do they need to talk to him? How many times can you testify on the same thing? Record it. That'd be pretty cheap. A lot cheaper than 54,000. So,
Plus he lives in
anyway.
Silver
And
Pig.
age.
We just set up a conference
Yeah.
call with him and just, and I think we probably do need to go back to the schools and see
That's the whole thing.
if they want to continue.
Well, that's true, but we just we don't have a good feel for what's gonna happen next year, the following year. Where's all this gonna go? How much are you willing to invest to keep fighting this. Because I can tell you from me, I was done 2 years ago.
Well, yeah, Ameren is probably gonna just keep appealing it. I mean, the thing is, you wait us out, you spend all of our money, we're gonna have more like Franklin County who are just gonna say, we're done. And I think that's what they're, it's a lot easier just to keep appealing and drag it on as long as you can.
Well, it's real easy for them to keep appealing because,
They can-
right, so the 90-some thousand dollars that George Sansucci is billing us, we're paying for. Whatever their attorney's fees and expert witnesses and everything else that they're paying for, we're all paying for that because it's included in our electric rates. They get to charge all that as their fixed cost and then add 10% for their margin of profit. I mean, so all their costs are covered in all our electric rates, so they can do this forever.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a scam.
Yeah.
but we probably do need to bring the schools back in and say, okay, you're the ones that have the most at stake. Do you wanna continue this?
Then they have to put forth some of the money.
Yeah, I think.
Last time they were pretty hostile about that.
Well,
about
I get
continuing
that.
it Or putting more money.
But if we're definitely out, then it's up to them.
Yeah, because
Do an
they're the ones that,
ultimatum.
Yeah.
they're the ones that gonna
Either you
benefit.
kick in your percent or we're,
Yeah, we're
Well,
done.
we're
You
done.
talked about Cape Girardeau County, I mean, so their assessment fund pays zero. Their county is paying zero of their 17%. The school district is paying the entire bill. So,
At this point, compared to how much we paid to how much we're gonna lose,
The school should pay.
yeah.
So-
It's gonna take us a long time.
right. I mean, we don't stand to lose near as much as any of the other people, taxing entities. So,
Just for public school.
Well, I don't, let's see if we can set up a conference call with George Sansucci. 'Cause I don't know what the time zones and all that other stuff.
Anybody else? You wanna get everybody together? You just wanna talk to George? He's gonna feed you a line. You wanna talk to the attorney at the same time, or? where we're
Have
going?
Reed, have we
well, I
been
think
getting?
Lewis, Allen, and Reed has stayed within their contract, have they not?
And they have, yeah. It's just
But,
Just George.
the charge
but
that's.
he may blame it on them, that they're requesting him to be there and that kind of thing, so it may be good to talk to them at the same time.
Okay, so that would be, closed if we talked with,
Yeah, you could do closed
Yeah,
session legal.
okay.
If you have to-
I would say that we get both of them on a conference call and just talk to them and just say, hey,
Yeah,
what- just have our questions ready, and get them answered. I'm sure he'll send us a bill for that too. So,
well, we've got to do something.
Right.
This is ridiculous.
you okay with that, Jeff? Pretty quiet over there.
I wouldn't pay him. I'd send him
Well, I would,
$1,000
to me,
balance
yeah,
that we
whatever
have,
balance
and I'd
we've
be done
got.
with it. And then, cause he's got the contract. So,
I agree. I mean, right now he's working for free. as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned.
I don't even need to talk to him. Like I said, we're gonna charge $600 an hour to talk to him on the phone. And then the issue about talking with the schools and seeing how they wanna proceed, that's a whole different issue, but we need to sit down and talk with them too. I don't think that it should all fall on the schools either. I mean, it's our job to defend the assessments, so.
So do you want John Reed there too?
I don't know that would be beneficial.
Isn't he our liaison with that?
He is, but I mean, you could still talk to them. John's just he's local counsel, but he's not doing the litigation. I mean, I could email him and ask him if he would like to be involved
Okay.
Yeah,
So
after
we'll
you
just-
set that
yeah.
all up.
okay.
Yep. Let's just try to get set up, see if John wants to
Yeah.
be involved, and then, obviously, I just don't wanna, I don't like getting letters and getting slapped in the face. I just soon have a phone call and then we can follow up with a letter or something, so. Anyway,
I'd just send them a check for the
I don't like
remaining
dealing with
$1,000
idiots.
saying that's all we agreed
I'd like to
to.
be able to do that too. I'm just, yeah. That's,
No,
you
man.
know, that sport code.
That's too
I
personal.
gave you the wrong price, so. Double that.
double that.
Yeah, double that. Okay.
It's
I
all
was
right.
gonna go get one, but now that I see what
I'll
he's
just
doing
give you
to
the check for what I had and I'll send you half of the coat back. I get to pick which
Send
half.
you
Okay.
the sleeves back.
It's gonna be sleeveless. You realize that.
Okay. So are we good on San Souci for right now?
So y'all are gonna call him and the attorneys
Yes, and get a conference.
We'll do a
call,
conference
closed
call.
session.
and tell them what?
We want a conference call.
We want a conference call, so we're gonna call them a conference call and tell them we want a conference call?
No.
We want to set up a time to do a conference call.
But what we're gonna tell them?
We're
Why
gonna
don't
have
you
a
go over your
conversation.
con-
We have some questions.
What questions? I mean, it's, the contract's clear. We paid up to $40,000, send them $1,000. If they send us another bill, say, hey, here's a copy of the contract, boys. It's all we agreed to.
But we had been asking him for a contract,
Yeah.
and he sent us a contract, and that's where we were, when we're bringing that to you guys.
A new contract.
Yes.
Well, that's a whole different thing then. So he wants a contract for more money to cover what he already did.
Right.
Okay. I'm not signing it.
Okay,
Oh,
He should have done that beforehand.
so then that's what we tell him on the conference call.
yeah, yeah.
I'm fine with letters. I forget people's names on purpose sometimes. I don't want to be too personable.
Do you know who you are today?
Okay,
we got.
move on.
Okay, move on. Discussion of elected officials' bonds.
So I came last week and we kind of talked
Thanks,
about
Alvin.
Thanks, Alvin. Merry
the
Christmas.
possibility of going to a position scheduled bond for the elected officials that are coming into office on January the 1st. I did call and get 4 quotes. It looks like right now Kenny Teeple for Teeple Insurance is the cheapest, and they're giving us a 25% discount in years 2, 3, and 4 if we prepay it. So the total for 4 elected officials at a $50,000 bond would be $1,706,
Okay.
which is cheaper than what we're paying combined at the moment, doing them individually.
Okay.
Are you guys good with moving forward?
And all 3 of those elected officials, 4 agreed to it.
Yeah, so it's me, Larry, Steve, and Sam.
Yeah, Steve's the one that jacked everything out.
My background. Eric? Not me.
Oh,
Eric?
No, it's not you, it's Judy,
yeah,
so recorder.
Okay.
I'm good.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Yep,
you.
I'm good.
Okay,
And then we'll try to do the same thing when the next group of elected officials take office, is try to group together as many as we can.
Okay.
It's great.
okay. Discussion of Christmas Eve. You know, Scrooge made Bob Cratchit come in and work on Christmas Day. He was supposed to, so. But
I thought
anyway,
you were gonna call me the Scrooge, so.
no. But I think we've decided that we will make Monday a holiday. What? No, not for you.
There's a problem with that. So currently, a lot of my staff are losing hours for holiday. If you throw one in this late in the month, there's no way they're gonna be able to take that 8 hours. My proposal, and Sam, I apologize, I was able to talk to these two before, but I did not get to talk to you. I'd like to pay them straight time. I've already checked. It's gonna cost us a little over $8,000 for those individuals that I just can't let go. It'll cost us about $8,000. I have it in my salary line because of the shortages. So on this one particular time, I'd like to pay straight pay to, it'd be everybody in patrol division except the detectives, because we'll send them home. Everybody in support services, except communications, because they gotta stay, and then everybody in jail division except the clerks and the transports, because we can send them home. But they gotta work, and it wouldn't be fair to give 8 hours pay to someone that's working versus someone that's not working, and they still lose those 8 hours. So if for this one particular time, we could pay straight time for those individuals, and I'll get a better list for Debbie and Kristen before,
You just wanna pay them for that day?
just for that one day. And then I think there needs to be a conversation for the sheriff's department in reference to the holiday time for 2019. I got some ideas. But,
That's scary.
but that's for a later discussion, just for this particular one. I know that complicates things, but
Well, so there may be issues with EMS and
Road
possibly
bridge.
Road and Bridge, and others as well.
but to be truthful, I don't care about them, so.
I
It's-
figured.
it's really all
I
about
figured,
me.
yeah, thanks.
And my staff.
So,
And if Matt was, if it really mattered, he would be here and he's not.
so maybe.
John, I appreciate your honesty.
So maybe we should let all of them pay straight time and not you?
We'll go time and a half, but I don't think that's fair,
No, that's.
but, so if you don't mind, we'll move forward on this one particular holiday, if you approve it, so.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
bring us,
I just had a lot of thought about that. I mean, we discussed it a couple weeks ago, you know, when I saw that both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve fell on a Monday. I mean, obviously, a different situation this year, but, I mean, we do have that floating holiday that people can use, and, I don't know. I got mixed feelings on it, but anyway, seems like you guys want to go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm good with it, but we're just gonna have issues
yeah,
going forward, like John and others, and so.
No good deed goes unpunished. So, we talked about it, we weren't gonna do it, but then the state's doing it, the city's doing it, and I don't have a problem following suit. Take a couple lumps with it. It's more for the employees and their families, and I'd actually like to look at maybe in the future, even doing Christmas Eve as a holiday and getting rid of the floating holiday, but that's a different discussion too. I don't know if people would rather have a floating holiday or Christmas Eve off, but, so, some people travel for Christmas, they can take the floating holiday and use it that day, or else we can make it a holiday. I don't know if anything gets done that day anyway.
Well, that's true, but it all just depends on how things fall too. And
Yeah,
So,
that's
I
it.
mean, you know, if, you could use that floating holiday in a number of different places, around Thanksgiving or, so.
Okay, so,
Christmas Eve is Saturday now. Christmas Eve is a Saturday.
they get Sunday off then.
That's Christmas.
Okay, they get Saturday off.
Well, they would get Monday or Friday, I guess.
Friday.
Don't
Monday and
complicate
Friday.
things, Debbie.
no, we'll take it each year.
Here I am in a giving mood.
Take it each year.
You're in
We're gonna have that.
That's it, we're working all the time,
Yeah,
So we need to vote on this, or?
probably. Yeah. I make a motion, we declare Christmas Eve a holiday for 2018.
You better decide if you're
I need
paying.
to know how to handle that.
Yeah.
I've got a motion on the table, you can wait till second, then we can discuss.
What do you-
Second.
What do you mean by that in the head?
All right.
What's that? What do you mean by that?
Because I wanna know if they're at their 96, they're the only ones that doesn't get paid for it, or if it's just whenever.
No, it has to be everybody. It has to be everybody patrol division, because if you're gonna give a holiday, so what you're gonna say is you're gonna pay somebody that has to work that holiday, but if they're not working, then they don't get compensated for it.
No, I'm
They would
saying
still
their
bank
limit,
it.
their bank, they can still bank it, so.
Right,
is
but
it
the
because
bank
they're
goes
over
over.
the bank that they get paid it, or is
So-
it everybody just gets paid it?
Everyone gets paid it, because here's the issue you're gonna have. If
That's
not,
what we gotta talk about this.
because next year then, we're gonna have this discussion again about people being pushed over their 96 hours on holiday time.
They got a whole year to use it.
And we're short. We've been short.
So, I mean, it does come into play, because you have two holidays right at the end of the year. And just for people that are working, they could lose all those hours if they're already at the max before those holidays hit.
Yeah, but they know all of those
I
holidays. and stuff. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
They should have pre-planned.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's not about pre-planning. If you're short and you schedule, for our staff, if I schedule them a Friday, that's our double up day. And that Friday is a double up day, so this squad is off on that holiday. Well, then guess what? Something happens, we're short staffed as we have been all year, and we have to pull those guys in. It's not fair that I'm making them come back in. It's not their fault. So we shouldn't have, it's not fair to my staff. If we're gonna do it, if you wanna do it that way, then let's just pay holidays for all my staff. We won't have to worry about it no more. It's gonna increase my salary line quite a bit, but I'm okay with that too. Actually, that would benefit me better if we did that. But this year alone, just for patrol division, if I paid patrol division, their overages for holiday that they're gonna lose in December, $16,000. If I do it for jail division 2, now we're talking about $32,000. So my staff are busting their butt because we're short. They're busting their butt because of it. And now what you're doing is you're saying, those of you that don't have that time, we're gonna give you 8 hours of extra pay for Christmas. But those of you do, you just get to bank yours, and then next year you can lose it because you can't take your time off. So, I mean.
So you're saying that you don't have enough staff to allow your people to take their time throughout the year?
This year, yes, that's correct. I can bring in schedules and show you. I've been beating myself up over this for the past month, trying to figure out a way to do this. And finally, what I told my staff was, you're gonna lose the time. There's just no way for me I can't compensate you. I can't give you I can't give you money. I can't do that. But now next year, 2019, like I said, I got some ideas that we can talk about later, but,
So for emergency services, say you and EMS, it's 24/7, 365. I mean, whether you work the holiday or you don't work the holiday, you're just saying just to pay the benefit for the whole year.
that's one way to do it. I mean, that's how most
For
agencies do it.
every holiday.
But in
That's
this
how-
instance, we're just talking about Christmas.
Yeah,
We're just talking about Christmas
Yeah.
Eve, but to make it fair across, that's how most agencies do it. That's how JCPD does it, that's how most agencies do it, that they just pay you straight time for the time that you're supposed to get. Because every employee in Cole County gets that vacation day.
They get 8 hours
Right.
accumulated on their check, and if
Right.
they happen to be over the 96,
Right,
then
but in-
they can donate it to care leave or.
Well, and that's
or
the
they
other
lose
question I
it,
had, I
whatever.
actually asked Larry about that. Can they donate the holiday time too, or is it just the vacation? They can't do holiday? Well, that helps
Everything
some.
but sick.
Everything but sick, okay. Well, comp time they can't do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on there.
Okay, well, I only have I think 3 people that have comp time right now, and they'll be burned off before first of the year.
So if for some reason Public Works would have to work on Christmas Eve, would we just pay them the 8-hour holiday in straight time as well?
if that's what we're gonna pay others, I would, yeah.
Give them the option if they wanna be paid for it or if they wanna use it as comp time, but if they're over, they would obviously take the pay.
Right, but I mean, EMS would be the
Or
same
do
way.
we just say we're
Yeah.
gonna pay them? We're not even gonna give you opportunity to put it as comp. So. You take care of the weather on Christmas Eve and Christmas.
You don't want me to take care of the weather, because I'll ask for snow. And lots of it.
Lenny's cursing me right now.
I mean,
I don't have a problem paying them.
No,
I think they need to be compensated for it, and I appreciate them working on Christmas Eve,
And I
Christmas
think if you,
Day.
do- I mean, if we just fix Christmas Eve now, and then I think this warrants another discussion later on after the budget. So, I mean, you got enough on your plate right now. If you want to do it beforehand.
It kinda needs to be in the budget, because if we're paying out holidays, we need to increase salary line.
Well, we can't, I can't do that for me. It increases my salary line too much. There's no way I can make it work. But we can look at certain holidays and do those. For instance, towards the end of the year, because they get so close together, if we could say for the sheriff's department, and I didn't want to have this conversation now, but for the sheriff's department, if we say you get holiday time for this time, but on Thanksgiving, Christmas, then you don't get, or something
No,
like that.
let's have this conversation later
Yeah.
when we
Yeah,
talk
we're-
about salaries and personnel
And I'm
and all
okay
that
with,
stuff.
I'm okay with dealing with it next year and trying to deal with the budget at hand, because I didn't put it in my budget this year. It
Do
didn't
you
come
have
up
people
till
too,
like.
Michael?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I can let the majority of them know, but I've got.
yeah,
Certain people that'll have to work.
well, yeah, you've got
Yeah.
kids
I've got
there,
3 shifts that I gotta have.
yeah, you've got kids there, so. Remember on Andy Griffith, when they just let him out of jail and said, come back after Christmas?
But they gave them alcohol too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we will not be doing that.
Sam Bushman. Yeah, BUS.
Well, it worked for, Andy and Barney. let
Sam,
them
it's bad enough I'm out there unsupervised.
know. Okay,
So you had a first and a second, so I just need clarification on, is it everybody in EMS and the sheriff and?
Everybody that has to work that day gets 8 hours of paid straight time.
No, he's saying everybody, not the ones that even have to work that day. He's saying everybody gets paid for it.
Why?
Okay, because you still get the 8 hours. So if my guy is off, right, if he's scheduled off that day, right, you're giving him 8 hours of vacation time or holiday time, but he's losing that because he can't burn it off. So now all you're doing is saying, here's 8 hours that you have to give up at the end of the year. If you're gonna be fair, then you have to give 8 hours to every staff member in patrol division and every staff member in jail division, straight time. And I have it in my budget. It's not like this is extra money,
Well, it is extra money.
but it's in my budget. It's revenue neutral.
But the people
No,
you're giving
no,
off
Then
that
if-
day.
no, it's not.
Well, then, if that's the case, then I would recommend you do not take Christmas Eve off. I don't think it's fair to all of the people.
I mean, you may have money left over in your salary line, but it is not revenue neutral. This extra holiday will cost in excess of $50,000
So how many-
to the county.
So how many people in EMS, how many people do you have in EMS? And I'm just saying, and I'm not saying for the rest of them, but not just EMS and Sheriff's Department, that's how many affected. That's the majority of your employees. So what you're doing is by giving this day off is a small group of people get affected by this and everybody else.
I get it.
So if you're gonna be fair, you need to do 8 hours for every employee, because it's not fair just because they're not scheduled to work that they don't get that 8 hours.
Well, I don't know that they're saying it's gonna work any different than a normal holiday does.
Well, they were thinking of just the ones that were working that
Oh.
day. Would get paid. the
That's what
regular.
they're saying. Only people that are scheduled to work will get that 8 hours pay, and that's not fair.
Everybody.
Well, that's not how it works right now.
Well, but
So
you,
like-
They bank.
if you,
They
they would
bank.
bank it,
Right.
but you're at the end of the year and you may be maxed out on your bank, because John's saying he's made people work, you know, hasn't allowed them to take their time off because he needed them to work.
And they only have 7 days.
Right,
take
so I
off that
thought you were
time, so.
asking that anybody that's banking the holiday gets it paid out.
No, nope, it's not fair. You gotta do it straight across the board. Pay 8 hours straight for across the board. Because what you're doing is you're giving 8 hours of pay to one guy, and you're not giving 8 hours of pay to another guy. You're having him bank it, in which, in 2019, he's gonna lose it because they can't take their time off.
Even though they got a whole year to take it.
I'm confused.
How
So
many
your
times
your
have- you
people,
keep saying that. How many times have you worked 24/7?
I work all the time. I answer my phone all the time.
Wow, that's real good.
So
Just
I
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on,
Hey,
hold on.
hey.
There's- These are scheduled things.
I
It's,
do.
it's a little different, Debbie. I understand what you're
I
saying,
don't
but-
know.
but when you say across the
That's-
board, I'm thinking the office people that are not going to work.
No, those guys I sent home, not those. That's what I
Okay,
said.
that's what
Okay.
I'm
No.
misunderstanding.
So patrol
I-
division.
I'm
the-
with you then. It works the
Right.
same way it works right now.
Right.
So if your scheduled day off is that day, you're banking the holiday currently. You want it to be paid.
Yeah, straight out, 8
And
hours.
if you're working, you want it to be paid.
Straight 8 hours.
But if you're giving them the day
So
off for the
everybody,
holiday.
everybody in civil, right? The day they're supposed to work on that Monday, I'll let them go home, so I don't have to compensate. They're being compensated because they get to stay home.
Okay, that's where the confusion is. When you were saying across the board, I'm thinking you're paying the
No,
office
no.
people that
So
you're
the
giving
jail-
the day off.
Jail clerks, transports, civil, all will send all them home.
Okay, that's,
So we don't have to pay them.
so they will actually earn and take the holiday.
take that day off.
For that day. So it's only the people that are scheduled to be the day off or are working
Right,
the holiday. That's
Right.
what get paid.
right.
Well, all of 703 and all of 704.
Well, not all of 703 and 704. I just said that.
'Cause
So
you have
patrol
some
division,
clerks
It would
in
be all
there.
the patrol deputies, minus the detectives, right? Because they will give them the day off, unless, God forbid,
Unless
something
they have to
happens.
come in and work.
Chip it, shooting
Or
again.
who is exempted in the jail?
I mean, who's
Jail
gonna do all
clerks
this?
none of the jail clerks would be in there.
Are you guys gonna put all this in payroll so that they can process it?
Yeah,
Who gets paid and who doesn't?
yep.
salary.
Just add 8 hours to the hours.
So
Yeah.
what,
It's not- I don't
how
think it's that
how
big a
does
deal.
the pay period fall, how does the pay period fall there?
Throw it in overtime.
Where does that pay period fall?
I don't know what date the pay period falls.
Where does the pay period fall
Maybe
for,
a check in January,
so that would be in next year's budget?
yes. Yes, it would.
That makes it even more interesting.
Yes, it would, you're right.
So anything paid in that pay period's gonna hit in January, so it
Based on the
wouldn't
check.
even come into play for 2018. So we're not talking about the same pot of money.
No.
So, but.
But I mean, it would carry forward, I mean.
That's what I was gonna say, my money would carry
Well,
forward.
if you don't spend the money in 18, that's gonna be cash forward going into 19.
In the cash, yes.
Right.
You
Yes.
have to redo the budget.
Right. We got budget to do.
That's why the first time we talked about this, it was just easier to say, let's not do this. But
I mean, I
we
just,
got-
the more I thought about it, the more complicated it becomes, and so, I mean, I think it's a great benefit for the employees, but, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't get the benefit because they have to work. I mean, they may get the pay. So,
Well, the state's in the same boat, the city's in the same boat.
No, the
Well,
city's not.
well,
The JCPD, they pay them for theirs, so it doesn't matter, they just add an extra, it's another paycheck for them that they get. So they don't get time off for holidays, they just pay them for their holiday time.
But that's another issue we can discuss.
That's another issue, I agree, sir.
And maybe we need to look at doing that. I mean, the way we were doing it, it worked. If they can use their time some other time, it's fine. But if we need to look at just paying them and being done with it, we can do that too. We're not the only people that have people working 24-hour shifts,
Nope.
so we're not reinventing the wheel here. I don't have a problem with doing that. It can cost us 50,000, you can look at it that way, or we could be paying a crap ton more to have people here not doing anything for a day. So, send them home, go spend time with your family, have a couple drinks.
well, that works well for people that can, that are office personnel that can go home. And I mean, I would also say, you know, the state doesn't really have their house in order, so I'm not sure that we should follow suit with them. I mean, if they had their house in order, we'd be getting $45 a day for our prisoners that we're housing. So instead, we're getting a measly 19 and they're 6 months behind in payment.
I was gonna say, we're not even getting that right now.
I'd say they got their house in order then. They're getting away with $19 a day. That's pretty damn smart.
They're screwing
So-
the county, huh?
I'm not, yeah. I can't disagree with that one. So,
They're the Scrooge.
There you go, you got something to blame.
Well, I'm still.
Mr. Presiding Commissioner,
I
I move that we call the question. And you're gonna have to have a second and vote on that.
I seconded Jeff's motion.
Right, but we need a motion to call the question or not, and then,
All in favor?
did you second Jeff's or what?
I seconded Jeff's. when he-
So we're voting on the Christmas Eve holiday then?
Yes,
Okay,
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
abstain.
Okay.
do you have to have a second to move to question?
Yeah, that's all right.
I have
Okay.
seconded yours when you made it.
That's all right.
No,
My
we're
my
talking
motion
about-
failed.
We're
so-
talking about calling the question.
Oh.
Get
Anyway,
our Robert's rules out. And we digress again.
that's right.
So we
Morse
need
down.
direction on how we're paying or
Checks,
banking
write checks.
the holiday.
Direct deposit.
Oh, direct deposit, right. What do you mean?
So,
Are you paying the day, or are you banking the day, or does
I'm
it
fine
only
with
apply to
paying.
the sheriff?
no, it applies to everybody that, I mean, that's how I see
Yeah,
it.
it
It would
is.
apply to everybody that the sheriff's people.
Essential personnel.
But I
Yeah,
mean, he's gonna have to
Michael's-
enter that somehow,
Well, I'm gonna have to figure it out, yeah. Well,
right?
But don't
I
do it
mean,
on,
not-
I gotta get a pay code out there.
Don't do it
So
on
we can't just
Christmas
take
Eve.
that out, because they throw it into overtime. So if we're just paying that, we don't want
it's
to.
time not worked, right?
I
We
think
don't-
you can
we don't
still
have a
pay
pay-
it as straight time,
I know,
because they're
but
not
in what
physically
category?
here. So you would still pay it out of.
It can't just go in as holiday, can't just be 8 holiday.
I think in his case,
Not
you're
his
gonna have to
case.
earn the holiday and pay the holiday.
Why can't you just pay the holiday?
Why put that on all of them, in case we go to that next year? Because right now, all it is holiday, and that holiday pays. So I have to put those codes on everybody.
But
Can't
to
you
get
earn-
it in
We'll
there.
figure it out.
Can't you earn it and pay it, but it would apply for sheriff,
So then those
EMS?
departments gets to choose who in those departments that would get paid straight out for it. Is that the way you wanna leave it?
Well, so everybody countywide would either enjoy the benefit of having 8 hours off, or they would get paid for 8 hours of time. Does that clarify that, or? I mean, obviously, if they have to work 40 hours in the jail, they get 8 hours of
So
paid
if they are
holiday time.
working or it is their scheduled day off, they get paid the holiday.
I just wanna specify per department now, because I know there's gonna be one out there that says, oh, I'll work it, pay me for it.
No,
I don't want that.
no.
We need to specify the 24-hour type places first, which would be EMS, sheriff, and
Springer.
juvenile. Is that the only three that we're gonna allow to do that?
I think so.
Well,
Okay.
and if Road and Bridge gets called
Yeah.
I
in,
know,
Yeah,
that's a whole
yeah.
different deal. if we
Right.
get called in.
Well, technically, and this is me guessing, you might have to, but Road and Bridge, if they're off and they get called in, they're gonna get, I mean, they're being sent home, but they get time and a half if they come back in, correct?
but they would,
On a holiday. Because they're different than the other department.
They're just different, just say that.
They are, because these are usually, they're different.
but I guess in that
Are they
situation,
here?
they would come back in, they would come back in and get time and a half because they got called in. But should they get paid straight time, 8 hours for the holiday, because if they had to work it?
I'm gonna leave that to the department.
Okay, let Larry figure it out. Okay.
Because, I mean, one way or the other, if they're close to their bank, they're the same situation as what he's talking
Okay.
about. Just those three departments. And then we'll talk about Round Bridge if they
Yes.
have to get called.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we gotta redo the budget.
Yes, because it will be in next year's budget.
Oh, Chris can do that.
Piece of cake, huh? Figure that out, Kristen.
Yeah, right, because they don't know who they are yet.
Well, you had
But
salary
don't
in there
work
for
24
IT, we
hours,
just
so
wanna
it's
give Brian
okay.
another
You
guy.
can get that done in 8 hours a day.
Take it out of emergency management with my car.
We don't touch this one.
Okay, let's move on.
Merry Christmas. Okay.
In-house budget.
Have
You all
anything
can
else
close, right,
before we
Larry?
go into
What?
the
You
in-house?
can close, right? Christmas Eve?
Yeah. Yes, we can close.
And you will have the sign that says, just put it in the Dropbox or, yeah.
Yeah.
We will probably open that next, we open that next Saturday, from like 9 to noon, with part-time people, but it doesn't, cost anything for regular employees. At least that's what we're talking about.
That's fine.
Usually these part-time people will be open on Saturday morning to take time.
Okay.
Jeff, I'm sorry, are you putting that in the paper so people know? So we can let people
Yeah,
know?
but now, all county offices will be closed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Except for
basically what,
essential
I'm thinking about saying, it sounds simple, just close.
it's, yeah, but it's not. No, it's not.
I mean, it sounds like a good article.
I just want the public to know.
Look forward to reading it.
But it isn't
The line
this,
about, the line about the state and, being, free,
I'm not saying we were following them in any other manner besides the holiday.
and I think by going with the sheriff's request, he's taking animal control. So I think
I'm
that's
very
part
glad
of
to have
it.
this.
I'm getting ready.
Okay, no, we're done.
Okay,
We'll talk budget.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we're taking that.
We're really done.
After today.
15 to start?
This year.
And 10,000 a year after that?
Right.
Okay.
Mhm.
They already have a service online that does that, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought there was an app that you could sign up for.
I don't know, I mean, it seems like the sheriff had something and there was some other app that we could already sign up.
I know if there's a tornado or an Amber Alert, there's a damn alarm that will make
Oh,
you
yeah.
stick to your ceiling at night.
Mhm.
Those Amber
Okay.
Alerts are.
Couple of things real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Turn mine off.
Larry has a small change to his budget
No. Wait, let me have these candy.
for next year.
Where's the healthy
Probably.
snacks?
Cleaning out my
Did they
feet.
bring us more bananas, or did we get some new bananas?
There's pretzels in these.
There's pretzels in there.
There's pretzels
That's
in
good
these.
for you.
What's in
Marshmallows.
that cup?
Okay,
So, small change to Larry's budget, he needs to add $1,000. There's $1,000 to equipment service contracts because of a new copier.
okay.
Or we could just not give them a new copy, or they don't have to worry
He
about
already
service
has
contract.
the new copier.
Oh, what?
You had 500 in there, going up to 1,500.
Well, it's on a per copy basis.
You need to make sure yours isn't that big.
It is.
It is a per copy basis.
That's what we gave Debbie for Christmas. That was an early Christmas present.
I'm gonna get her a cup of
I
coffee,
did
'cause
pay
it looks
for
like a
copy
beer
here.
wall, so.
Okay, so we're good. We have it written down.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks,
And
Larry.
then, Michael wondered if we could skip to his and do his first, because we didn't talk about, a change in his salary the other day when he was up here.
Okay. Talk about,
So, in the budget, I approached Michael at the beginning and was kind of talking about his part-time line and how much part-time we were using, and asked him if it would be helpful to take a couple of those part-time people.
What page we on?
72.
should we wait till Jeff gets back in here? So we don't have to do this twice.
All right, I'm back, quit talking about it.
We skipped ahead to juvenile and do Michael's real fast.
Oh my God, what happened with all these
Page
papers? for?
72.
I don't have that page. We zeroed his, right? 72.
Yep. So I approached Michael at the beginning of the budget stuff and asked him if maybe it would be beneficial to take a couple of part-time people and make a full-time position so that he had coverage, and wasn't using as much part-time. So we in the budget did that. We took those part-time, reduced his part-time down, added one full-time position with benefits, and fixed it. He didn't talk about it the other day because he's in agreement with me of the way we did it, but we didn't point it out and we wanted to make sure you guys knew that it was in there. So in all reality, there is an additional full-time person in his budget, but it did not cost us anymore because we reallocated from
Part-time.
part-time.
So it's cost neutral?
But how do you make up the extra cost then?
No, because I reduced the number of part-time staff to pick up the benefit package. That-
You're gonna have one full-time person at 40 hours, but you're gonna take out more than 40 hours of part-time.
That's right, because I have a hard time because even filling part-time staff. So, because with the full-time person, I benefit more from that than part-time people because it's very difficult getting part-time people to come with no benefits and all, and things of that nature. So, with the full-time, I benefit more, even though I may have less folks there, I'm still trying to get part-time people in.
Okay, well, it wasn't really explained that way, so that's what I was trying to figure out.
Right, yes, I have,
The benefits that we're paying will be benefited to the county.
yes.
Because you have a full-timer, you're able to keep that position filled, you're not having turnover, having to train somebody every time the part-timer
That is
quits or
correct,
finds
yeah.
a full-time job, so.
Right, and I made sure that in that part-time line, I brought over what those benefits would be to cover it, so I'm not asking you to cover the benefit line also.
If that works for you, I'm okay with
Yeah.
it. It's
Yes.
neutral anyway,
Yes.
but I just wanted to make sure because it didn't.
Right, I'm going from 9 part-time staff down to 5 part-time staff. And then going from 8 full-time youth specialists to 9 full-time youth specialists. So that benefits me more in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many kids do we have over there? And I haven't been to one of your meetings in a while. How many have we been averaging?
Today I've got 1 in detention, been there for a while, they'll be there for a while until we go to court. And I have
I thought it was 6.
7, I picked up another one last night. I have 7 in residential right now.
Okay. That's why I was just curious.
Yeah, to keep, it'll probably pick up even more within another week or two. Things
Around the
kind
holidays.
things kind of fluctuate. A lot of disruptions and things of that nature, so.
So we just wanted to see if you had questions, because he didn't mention it,
Right.
and I didn't either.
And also, I just wanted to make sure that, and I really didn't mention about the proposed salary line, also that
The
if
adjustments.
the adjustments, if, when you guys take a look at that, I met with with our auditor, and I was in an agreement with that. I had no issues with that. I think it would, as for our department, it would be a benefit having it established in the manner that she presented to me and will be presenting to you.
So Michael, it looks like there's a couple of grants that maybe are going away.
Yeah, there were small grants. There was one with the Department of Public Safety. It was more of a hassle than anything else. We have one for a diversity grant we're no longer doing, and that was with the Department of Public Safety. So it was small, it was real small grants. We still have our ongoing grants that we have with the Office of State Courts Administrator. That will always be there. It's renewable on an annual basis. We still have our Division of Youth Services grant, which has been with us for a number of years. So that is still there. So, but I think overall, we're doing okay within that arena. Especially when you were talking about, you know, the Christmas, for Christmas Eve for holiday time. I will probably more than likely put more part-time staff in that slot and let my full-time go. That way I don't have to worry about having to pay our using holiday time. So it gives me an option within that area for this year, at least.
So is there any opportunities to increase some of that revenue?
That's what I'm working on, and so and that's a goal of mine for this coming year.
Down about 60,000,
Yes.
looks like from
Yes.
next year will be
Right.
from this year, so.
If, I'm not, Chris, I don't know if you were here in 2000, were you here in 2008?
No.
Okay. I don't think, Jeff, were you here in 2008?
9.
2009? Okay, it was 2008 is when we actually increased our budget by 3 staff to bring up the residential program, and that cost the county $150,000 with benefits and all. And I was talking with Christian, if I cannot meet that 150 and above, then I think we have to come back and look at the cost benefit for that particular program. So I agree with her, and I want to just go on record saying, if I can't meet that, then we need to come back and take a look at where we're at, the residential services up there. Of that 150, we will always have the emergency care because it was always there.
Right.
But you look at that 150 in there, if I cannot meet that particular area, I think that you hold me accountable for to justify why we stay where we're at.
Okay.
But I think this year we're okay. We're gonna exceed that, this year. But I wanna at least hit that 220 if possible.
The only other thing you had was on the attorney's fees and,
Yes, and that was, you know, and I gave you that, I put it in the, for the 10, 15, and 20%.
Right.
Area. And that is an area that I really was not in our budget. And I would really advocate within that area. And so I gave you the 3 areas. I'm asking you to look at it in one of those 3 areas. I'm not going to advocate for the 10, 15, or 20. I'm just saying I need an increase.
okay.
And that's why I gave you those numbers.
That's what they get, the attorneys get paid per hour.
Per hour. Yeah, and it's face to face.
Right.
I do not do phone calls. I do not pay for administrative costs or anything of that nature. So, and we actually go through and we line them out. They will submit it because they need to do it for their billing for the clients, due diligence.
Right.
But when we get it, we say we don't pay for that. We don't see them face to face.
Sure.
I'm sorry, but we don't pay for it.
Right.
How much an hour is it?
$40 an hour. But if you look at an ongoing, the minimum rate for an attorney here in Jeff City starts at about $150 an hour.
Okay.
And that's the attorneys for the families, not, this isn't for the kids that are
It's
going to court.
family and kids. We have to cover both. Put it this
But not
way.
a kid that's going in there because he's in trouble for stealing.
No, that
It's
kid-
just for the parents that have some kind
No,
of issues.
It's 2 areas, yeah. We cover for, on the neglect and abuse side, we've got to provide the
Right.
coverage for the parent and the guardian item for the child. But when it comes on the delinquency side, if you recall, 3 years ago, St. Louis County, the Department of Justice went into St. Louis County and they got dinged big time because they didn't have representation for kids coming into the court system. And we
So-
did not have that issue because we had representation for kids when they went to court. We don't pay for the families of those kids on the delinquency side, and we actually go through and look at.
So
do
the
they have
kid gets in
ability to
trouble
pay?
for stealing, he's in the center,
Right.
and he comes to court. We
Maybe
have to
in civil
provide
not, But if he goes to court,
we have to have an attorney.
we have to have an attorney, but we will do a sliding scale to determine if the parent has their ability to pay. And then they get their own attorney. We won't pay for that.
So then why didn't the public defender handle that? Why are we eating that cost?
Okay, here's the issue. The public defender at this point, they don't have enough people to even represent the
I
adult
don't
system.
disagree with that either. I mean,
Right,
that's not a secret, but
I understand, but.
why are we paying for it?
Because they don't have the expertise when it comes to dealing with juvenile law. That's another issue that you have, and that's why you have a lot
The
of
state should be
issues.
covering it then.
Pardon me?
The state should be covering it then.
You have a number of, most counties either will contract out for their attorneys, and a lot of.
I don't care if we
counties that-
contract or hire our own, why do we gotta pay for it? The state is mandating that they have an attorney, correct? So-
Not only the state though, but also the feds, through legislation, that they must be represented. So, put it this way, I would say an unfunded mandate, okay? It really is an unfunded mandate, but at the same time.
In a roundabout way, I'm saying that's what we need to have.
Right, but I'm just
Victory
saying,
group take a look at too, and maybe
Mhm.
right, but at the
see if
same
we can
time,
try to figure something out.
at the same time, they need to have representation when they do go to court. And we have been very fortunate where we've not had that issue, and I think we've gotten, with the amount of dollars that we have and the number of folks coming to the system, this county's done very well in representing its citizens and the kids, where we've not had any adverse effects coming back on us.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that either. I'm saying basically, we're doing public defender work for the youth. When they can't afford it, it might be just a minor part of that, so let's move on. I don't know what we wanna figure out, if we're gonna talk about what amount we wanna put in there.
We don't have to do that right now. I mean,
Well,
if you wanna get through all of them and look at general fund and where we're at, and then decide if we have additional funds we wanna put in there, or
So are we kinda keeping a tally of
I'm
different?
making notes as we
different items
go
that-
through, yeah,
okay.
that we wanna go back and look at.
So if we
Yeah.
leave it at 121, then what's gonna happen, Michael? We're,
It's
we're not
just-
gonna be able to pay them, or?
You're
No,
still
no,
gonna
no,
pay
we're still
$40
paying
an
them.
hour.
I'm just paying, I'm just saying, I need to, in looking at it, the last time we did this was 8 years ago. We went from 30 to 40, and there's been no increase whatsoever in that particular account. I know when I first got here, that account was 150, and because I can't speak to the previous administration, but there were some glitches in the system that things were not happening. And so they reduced that funding amount back then. So,
So really, he's asking you to increase the rate per hour that you're paying attorneys at the
Right.
moment. We're paying them $40 an hour.
right.
He's asking, 10%
Okay, so
would
the
be
121 is gonna
44.
be at 40.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
10% is $4, 15% is
Six.
$6.50, and then
Yeah.
20% is at $8
Yeah.
an
So-
hour.
So I think it would be better to get through all of general and make notes of all the things we wanna look at, and then see where we're at, and if we
Okay.
have additional funds, we'll go back and add it back in.
I agree.
The only reason I didn't say anything the other day, because I was in agreement, except for that one piece right there. But I'm in agreement with everything else that, even though I didn't get what I wanted, but I can live with it, with the, what was in the book. That was the only area that I had a concern with.
Okay,
Okay?
thanks.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Okay, so we kinda skipped ahead, we need to flip back and get to page 57.
Don't go backwards.
Public administrator. Can I steal it? Is ours?
Accounts payable.
No, I haven't looked at it yet.
Who's gonna ask?
Joe didn't really have a whole lot that he talked about. We did have a pay form up here that we had some conversations about. Did you send it back to him? He did bring up the pauper funeral. That's probably a discussion that we'll be.
Have
we'll
later.
have.
Yep.
At the same time, we talk about the attorney fees.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't believe that they do it for $250.
Well, it hasn't changed.
I'll tell you, they're losing money.
I couldn't haul something across town for $250.
I think it definitely deserves an increase. I'm just not sure if we want to bite off. I mean, someone brought up $800. I think that's an awfully large amount to increase all at once. Maybe
Mhm.
it's a jump to 500 and then review it in a couple years and see if we jump.
We're just lucky that the two that are still doing it feel like it's part of their obligation
Right.
One of
for
the,
this community.
That's where I'm at with it. At some point, they're gonna say, look,
Yeah,
you
they're,
know, as much as I wanna help, I can't do this. I'm losing money every time we do this. We don't have that many. We had, what, 7 this year?
Okay.
one of the interesting things that we talked about at our safety meeting as we were looking at the morgue and stuff is that the hospitals only have like room for like 2 or 3 people that have passed each hospital. And I'm like, how can that be? I mean, you could have a car wreck and have more people die in one accident than the hospitals have room for, and I
But
guess.
in a circumstance like that, if you actually die like in the accident, do you still go to the hospital or do you go directly?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, so
If
I
you're
don't-
DOR, but I mean, you know,
But sometimes family members.
the
don't know where they're
mortuaries,
going yet.
the
Right.
mortuaries don't, I mean, I don't know how they know where to take them, but I mean,
it,
mortuaries only have space for so many as well, so, I mean, you could fill up pretty fast
Right.
all the space that you got.
years ago, our nephew and 3 boys were in a car and they ran off the road into a creek and drowned. And they were over in the morgue at Capital Region, I had to go in and identify them. You don't ever want to do that again. It's,
So one of the things that we could do too is whenever they do the cremation, that the families don't wanna have anything to do with it until after the cremation is done, so they don't have to pay for it, but they still wanna come pick up the cremains. So if they come pick up the cremains, they pay for the cremation. So there's ways to try to work the reimbursements on some of that. I think currently now, somebody can come pick up the cremains. So,
We pay to have cremated, but the family can still come pick them up. I don't think so.
By the time
I
they
think,
declare,
I think that
they
they
don't
get,
have the rights to it.
yeah, once we say we're gonna pay for it, they get buried over in city cemetery.
I think if somebody comes back later and wants to, then they reimburse us, but
So in that
I don't think
situation,
that happens very much.
they're deemed a ward of the county.
Yeah, kind of.
And so all their assets become counties?
It depends if they were an estate of the public administrator before, or if they were just declared an whatever,
Well,
indigent and nobody, I don't know where the rest of their stuff goes.
So,
Would the
Yeah.
funeral home have a
they
claim?
had
They
the,
may.
they had the,
Have a claim?
but I mean, would we, I guess, and I'm asking is, would we have a claim? So like, there was an instance where a Montauk County person died here in Cole County and, you know, couldn't get a hold of anybody, so we take care of it. I mean, do we go see if they have assets and seize those assets?
That's a Joe question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, I would bet
Our
that
judge
we're not
does.
even, we're probably not even looking at that.
Well, yeah.
I mean, is there a means to collect for those services that were done?
I mean, I would guess that if they did have any property, it would have to go through probate or something. And at that time, we could make the claim against what we spent to
Mhm.
do that. The funeral home could do the same thing, so if it takes them $1,000 to do it and we're only paying them $250, they have a claim for another $750. But I don't know that we can just go seize their property.
But we could put a lien on it for expenses occur or
I
whatever.
don't know. That would be a good question
Which
to
would-
ask. I don't
Probably
know.
probate thing would be the best.
Which would
way.
probably, then we'd
But
have
nobody's
to
following up on
put the
that.
costs of the lien, to file the lien and all that other stuff on there too.
I would think if there's any assets that would go to probate, then you could,
Yeah, but if
Take-
you're not
but-
filing the lien, you're not gonna get it.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
so somebody could be a millionaire that was a, you know, only child, nobody claims or nobody, you know,
Right.
and.
should I claim them?
well-
Dad. Most times that ain't the
Maybe you ought to start
situation.
watching the paper.
Most of the
Okay.
times people don't.
I don't
have
think
their
those
hands
even
on
have
those like
obituaries.
that.
Anything else in public administrator you want to talk about?
No.
So then health department. We were done with general. This is health and welfare. Nope. Good try though.
Yeah.
Good try. So Christy had a few, grants that needed to be updated. I think we have to do those, you know, we have to go along with the grant and what it says, so, I think we need to update those. We do need to double check the revenue on both of those and make sure that that's correct as well. But she also had the adding of the nurse practitioner or, physician's assistant we talked about.
So was there certain grants that, were the funds gonna go up or were they going down or?
So I know that she said in both the MCH and the child care consultation that the expense side that we included in the budget did not match the contract amount.
Okay,
But I need to double check the revenue side and make sure that the total we have in the revenue side is correct. Both of those grant paperworks just came through probably in the last week and a half. So,
okay,
we were using based on what we thought it was gonna be. Not exactly sure that we had the paperwork to know for sure that this is the correct amount, so we need to check both sides.
still be other accounts like that carry forward. too.
Right, we will have some other carry forward accounts, like if you look in her budget, the WIC Medicaid number on the expense side, they get to they have to set aside all of the WIC Medicaid money in a separate line and get to spend it only on WIC, and it gets carried forward from year to year. So that amount could fluctuate depending on where they end up at the end of the year and what they're carrying forward.
Okay, so was a copier part of a capital request, or?
So it was not included in her original capital, but, she did bring it up the other day, so, I think part of the reason it wasn't included in her original budget is because they do have some funding left over this year that they could have spent. But I think as we talked about it, it was better to let our lease run out and give us the ability to move vendors, so that would not be till March.
Okay.
So, yes, I think we need to include the copier in her capital request, and that is something that could come out of sales tax instead of actual fund. Anything else? So,
Salary structures, I mean, I guess we'll get to that later.
so yes, she did have two, after we did the original one, that she thinks their title should change, so that would change her structure a little bit as well.
And
Question for you all, so if we would add a nurse practitioner, what revenue source do you see coming in from that to help offset the cost of that? Do you see a fee being charged or something that's going to offset the expense of that?
Yes.
So it would add to the liability coverage.
Yeah, and insurance will be, I mean, it's,
Substantial.
insurance is gonna be high.
Yep.
But, the city has kind of, if you're partially self-insured, what are we have, what, $30 copay now?
No, I meant the.
Well, I'm just saying,
For her liability, or that person's liability.
The health insurance,
The health-
or
Not
healthcare
health.
liability.
Yes, for liability for the county for having a nurse practitioner.
So that would affect what we talked about yesterday with Rick.
Yes.
And then, yeah, so I'm assuming we would carry that person's insurance.
We would have to a certain extent, yes.
And I think that
There
you
are
would
employees.
actually see the cost that we're paying our, medical director that oversees the health department. I think his fees would go up just because of the amount of work that he has to oversee with a nurse practitioner versus just regular nurses at the moment. I mean, right now, we're not prescribing any drugs or things like that. We're
Right.
only administering tests and sending things off to the lab. So, I think that would be an additional cost that would go up as well. So I see a lot more costs associated with adding this position. I'm kind of looking for, how are we hoping to pay for that?
So, obviously, we need to have more discussions with Christie on this, but I see it several ways it could benefit. Obviously, a partnership with us, possibly the city and others, whether that be a low fee cost or whatever that may be, but for county employees to be able to use that just like they would any other office for urgent care, different things. But anyway, so we wouldn't get those bills on the back end of that urgent care visit coming through our health insurance fund.
So you wouldn't turn that visit into insurance?
No. So why would we pay for it twice? I mean, obviously it would be a huge benefit, and it could almost be maybe even a free benefit to county employees, but we would save on the back end.
Yeah, but more than likely, they're paying their deductibles for a long time, so we miss out on that deductible payment by the employee, the copay. It's just to where you get to the end where they start paying, the coverage us, start paying the full cost. You know what I mean? Because the employee pays up to a certain time, and then our
Especially
insurance
those that
kicks
are on
in.
the HSA, I mean, they're
Yes.
paying the front end cost of that we're not,
Right.
And that won't
until they
count.
reach that deductible amount.
Yeah.
If you're not submitting those bills and they're not paying their portion, you're going to be ending up paying more of other things.
Right. Then we
In the
should
long
let
run.
have.
I'll be devil's advocate on that. I am the HSA. So if I go to the health department and I don't know what to use as an example, but I get some kind of treatment for free, and maybe they write me a prescription for some kind of cold medicine. I didn't end up paying it, didn't go towards my deductible, but I didn't have to pay anything for that visit either, so I don't see how that would cost the county anything, because the next time I actually go to the doctor, then I would pay it.
It's not costing the county, other than having a nurse practitioner, that cost.
Right.
It's not costing your fund, the health insurance
Right.
fund, but it wouldn't have cost that fund anyway, because the employee would have been paying that first cost, if you know what I'm saying.
Right.
So you're not saving money in the health insurance fund, but you are also costing to have a nurse practitioner.
Damn it. You're right.
Well, yeah.
Well, so, yes,
Yes.
but so you're in an HSA and
So
you.
maybe I
you-
paid it too.
You go to urgent care and that cost is $150 or whatever that is, and I don't know what that is, I mean, but
Sure.
you pay the entire
Just-
cost.
Yeah, just use that number. I paid
So
$150.
$150, so that goes towards the deductible of your personal HSA. But,
Chances
so
are I'm not ever gonna get over it
you may
anyway.
never get to the deductible anyway,
That's right.
so you're out $150.
Right.
Well, the county's still paying insurance costs on you, and you may never get to the deductible, but for somebody that's not in the HSA, that's in the PPO, what do they go to urgent care and they pay $25 or whatever their
30, I think.
their copay is, and then what kind of bills are we getting on the back end that we're paying?
I mean,
We're getting, so say they pay the
Yeah.
25, so we're getting billed the other 125 that we're paying out of the health insurance fund.
a percentage, because the employee still pays deductible, maybe that'd be going towards their deductible too, even though they're paying the copay, still part of that goes towards their deductible, so
But it's $25 out of their pocket, right?
it depends what they have done there. It depends what
But
they.
they're still, I mean, whether they
So it could
pay,
be more out of their pocket if they
Later.
have
When they get
things
billed.
that.
but total dollars, so if I don't pay the $25 there today for the copay, I may have to pay the $25 sometime later, but I'm still only having to pay so much money out of my pocket to hit my deductible.
Well, I mean, so is the HSA.
Right.
I mean, But, I mean, you can do it, I mean, I'm not saying, but I
I'm-
don't think it's gonna save the health insurance fund that much. Because by the time the people get to that deductible, they have something going on, that they're not going to a nurse practitioner anymore. They're going to a different
Right.
doctor. So they're not going to our facility.
Right.
If you're gonna give it to them free, then, to go to our facility, then basically you've taken that deductible share that the employee pays away. Okay, but you gave them the option, they can go to whoever they want,
Mhm.
or they can come to us. Give it to them free, but you still have all the cost of what that nurse practitioner is gonna be. I would say you still run it through insurance,
But then we're just billing ourselves.
but you're letting them count that towards their.
And I'm not saying we're doing anything, so.
I know.
We're just having a discussion.
I know.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with what Debbie's saying, even though that means I was wrong.
Ooh, write this down.
Oh, wow.
Write
Wow, you
this
better
down.
record that.
Today at
So-
10:30.
Just trying to make it look John does.
10:30 a.m.
He must be buttering you up for something.
Uh-huh.
So by not turning that claim in, does that help us in future years because we don't have as many claims? Raising our
Good.
fees is maybe
But
something,
we're
one way to look at it.
We're self-insured.
Partially.
Partially. If the claim's over 75,000, anything less than that, we have the administrative costs.
Mhm.
I don't see the volume, maybe it has to do with the administrative cost, but it's gonna be very small.
Question for
compared to-
Randy maybe, or,
I mean, you can ask him.
I think most of the time people, it's flu, it's strep throat. Christy's daughter's, you know, she
Pneumonia.
had She had she had first, she had strep throat, then they went back and found out she had influenza B, now she's got pneumonia. So she's been there 3 times, I guess.
She
But-
wouldn't be coming to our nurse practitioner either, I don't think.
At first, she
Maybe at the
probably
beginning.
would, because, I mean,
Well, I think the
You're
first
just-
visit you probably would.
yeah, and if you charge,
After that, you would be going to your primary.
Yeah.
and Finding out
Yeah.
what's wrong.
If
But
you
if-
can get into your primary.
True.
if you charge, say, $20,
Right.
that's still 50% less than what you'd normally, it's $30, so we got to charge something. Because we do have to pay the nurse practitioner, and we have to pay the insurance.
I'm
and we
not
have
sure
to
about
pay-
the
And I think
cost
that's
or
what she's
what we
asking.
charge. I think it's whether
Right.
we turn it into ourselves.
I think you need to, just because for bookkeeping, I mean, it's,
Well, I mean, I
Uh,
definitely think that if you're gonna open it up and possibly let city employees or something, you're going to bill their
Yeah.
insurance. You're going to,
Or do you have them help supplement the cost of the nurse practitioner?
yeah, you could do it either way. And you're still gonna open it to the public too, so there you're gonna have a different pay schedule for the family that comes in.
Salary.
I mean, you're still gonna
Income.
probably be less than what it would be to go to a quick care.
well, I guess my
Be
question
considerably
is,
less than going to an urgent care.
I guess my question is are we gonna screw over the employee in some way by not submitting it to their insurance? So if there is an issue later on or something and they can't go back and say, hey, you went here and you did this, or you went there and did this, that history is not there, are we hurting them in the long run in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, we could take care of it within the price that we charge versus what another doctor's office may charge, we can make it less, but
So
it still
just
counts.
recording what was done so that, hey, just documentation so other doctors
Yeah,
could
that
see.
I mean,
what-
you
Yeah.
could get in trouble
Right,
that way.
so I mean, I
Well,
don't
you
know
have
the
to.
effects
You
of
have
if
to.
not, you don't turn it into insurance and follow it through the process the way it's supposed to, can you just decide not to do, I don't know.
Yeah.
But would it not be beneficial in the long run to say, hey, I went to a nurse practitioner and I got this medication or whatever, are you losing some of that history and
Mhm. I mean, I think all these are good conversations to have, and I mean, obviously, I don't have all the answers. I just, just a couple things that I thought would be beneficial is that, obviously, priorities to county employees when they come in, that they get right in,
Sure.
not right in, but I mean, they move to the front of the line.
That would
you know,
help sell it to,
Right.
to get county
Obviously, I would like to see it for county employees and their immediate family. So if you had a child or something, even though they're not on our health insurance, but you could still use that benefit, and if it was one of my kids, yeah, I'll
And
pay
you charge them the
$25
or
or
whatever,
whatever it
25.
is, cause I'd be paying that somewhere else as well, so.
I just think that maybe we aren't at the point where we want to add it into the budget at this point, but we need to sit down and have multiple conversations with the city, with the health department, with our,
Christie, obviously.
the guy the director guy that oversees it, and kind of figure out,
Okay.
Total
can we
cost.
make this process work, and what kind of cost is it gonna be in total? So the insurance, the medical director's fees and all of that, and sit down and really say, is this, gonna benefit us enough to absorb that cost, or is it something that, I don't know? And then have we looked into partnering with a JCMG or a Capital Region or something, and maybe we provide the facility, but they provide the nurse practitioner. And, we don't have all the back end stuff, cause they have their own medical director and things like that, but we're providing the service at our facility.
Right.
And maybe in that, we negotiate, we get a discounted
Mhm.
rate.
And that might be cheaper than doing our own service.
Right,
Say
so,
that
I
the-
mean, I think that there's multiple options to do here, I just don't know that we're ready to jump in and say,
The record keeping too is something, because now all medical is paperless, but you've got to have, there's a lot of record keeping.
Well, they're doing all that, they're doing all that with immunizations and everything else right now, so.
Do they
Yeah.
have more restrictions? I don't know.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's a good conversation, and I think we need to talk it through, but I don't know that we're ready to jump on and say, hey, let's do it.
So maybe we can have Christie back in here and let her kind of maybe run some of those traps and find out more information and.
Right, right.
You know, have some of these discussions with questions that we have and, how would it benefit us
And I think that her idea that if, you know, she has someone, the nursing director that's possibly talking about retirement, I think it would be the time to talk about this and to be like, hey, maybe this is the time to put this in place because cost-wise it will help us save a little bit. I definitely think it's, now we need to have the conversation. I'm just not sure that January 1st is the time to.
I don't think we could do it by January 1st, but I think this could save us money since we're partially self-insured.
So
I
maybe
think
we-
it can provide a good service for our employees.
Maybe we shoot for when our nursing director is retiring, we want to try to have a plan in place to implement something like
Right.
this.
And we need to look at options and see if maybe getting one of the other hospitals or medical groups to do it.
Well, I mean, right
Is-
now, they
is,
seem to be popping up those express cares and things like that quite a bit. I mean, maybe if we can benefit from each other, we partner together, and we've been doing all the other partnerships.
Say, community health center, Cap Region provides doctors, they have dentists, they had like 9 dentists over there too.
That's a lot of business.
They do a lot,
They're smart about that.
they do a lot,
Right.
and again, you've got different schedules on what you can pay and what you do pay.
Well, and I think staffing for them may be a lot easier, because it may not be the same person every day, but they have the staff available to staff it every day.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if
So
ours
that-
takes a week off or
Right,
sick, you know.
right, we're not gonna have the ability to backfill.
Yeah.
Well, we got a beautiful building out there, and I think a lot of people just have kind of a negative thought about who the health department is for, and it's for everybody. And so, you know, if we could get more people to use the health department, I mean, obviously, we can bill some of those people for that, but it may save them money. I mean, it's already a service we're providing, so, yeah, I think it's worth having those conversations, and maybe it's a mid-year goal to, or when this person retires, to try to do something there.
Right, right.
A survey of the employees to see who would actually use it.
Anything else?
Could we do that through like Survey Monkey or something?
That's how we've done the wellness stuff, yeah.
Maybe we could have Christie kind of come up with some questions that, you know, maybe with some dollar amounts or something, or.
Because you're gonna have to spell it all out. If you say free, they're in it, you know, but I don't think they're really know what they're saying if they, you know.
Right. I mean, obviously, you said, you know, some people are gonna be private about who they're gonna go see and who they're not gonna go see, but, you know, when I got a sore throat and I think it's strep, I mean, it's not that big a deal.
No, it's-
And we have the teledoc now and all that too, so
Yeah, I get that. And of course, some
Okay.
people said that it didn't work that well.
it's
and-
working.
Is it?
And Melissa will say that she messed that up. She said it did work.
Okay.
Did it help you on your finger, Joe?
She just didn't want to wait,
What's
so she
that?
went to urgent care.
Tell
Tell Doc.
Yeah, I called them twice and they both said, go get an x-ray. It's like, I did not want you to tell me to do that. I just wanted you to give me some penicillin to up the infection or whatever.
That stuff that's around now.
Okay,
They said
anything
no.
else with the health department before we move on?
But that's gonna be a good conversation too that day, because if we decide to do it,
Where was their revenues? Have they fallen off too, or
So.
a little bit? Yep.
They did have a few things though, like the WIC special project for moving, like that 80-some thousand was a one-time
Oh,
to
okay.
do the building, so, you know, that
was in and out.
skews that a little bit.
Sure.
So, you know, we were 880 was a total revenue budgeted in 18, we're 805, so,
Right.
you know, 82 of that was that special
Right,
project and
okay.
one-time grant funding, so, you know. I think their revenue is about the same if you compare year to year and take that one out.
It's
Okay.
their expense, so.
They're on their expense side, anything
It's
that
growing
jumped
right
out or?
Well, actually, if you look at total appropriations,
I was just looking at actual, I guess.
yeah, so their actual total expense has gone down. But that nurse practitioner not in there and stuff,
Right.
so,
Some of the grant money is not being spent.
right, so.
That insurance cost, was that for their building? Not the
Yeah,
materials and
building
supplies?
Building vehicles and liability, whether I can find that out, potentially, I don't know.
The other thing we need to talk about with health department is we really need to decide what we're doing with the old building. So,
Yeah.
something to keep in mind if we wanna, cause that is costing us utilities and things still for having it out there and the upkeep of mowing and things like that, so. If we don't have some plans for what we're gonna do with it, we may wanna talk about getting rid of it.
Okay, if we are to do something with the mowing or something out there, would that need to go into this fund, or does
I
that get
think-
split out?
I think we
Through
would
Greg.
most likely put it in Greg Camp,
Okay.
and leave it there, cause he does the other maintenance on the facilities.
Okay, so all the buildings come under his fund?
Not all of the buildings, but all of the ones in general.
So the
So-
sheriff does his, road bridge does theirs, and then the rest of the buildings are.
Carnegie, he does Carnegie still, maintenance, Greg
Yeah,
Camp.
oh, I was
Yeah.
saying the rest of
But
them are
like,
separate.
yeah, but like the sheriff's department has their own and they take care of their
That's right.
building. Road Bridge has their own and they take care of their building costs.
And the rest
So
of the
Greg
buildings.
takes care of the general buildings.
Okay.
Circuit clerk. So I think her only concern was where the capital and how that works, because she had those recording machines that she needs to replace. She didn't really bring up anything else. We didn't talk about her part-time. That started out as kind of a special
2-year
project
project.
and, supposed to take 2 years. We're now
It's assumed to be,
ongoing.
We still scanning that stuff, or what?
first it was just the backlog till they got to caught up, and now they're doing it, but I guess it's just current stuff that they're doing, so that really never was the plan.
There's something Victory Group could look for us too, because we're scanning state documents, correct? So
Okay.
we're paying for these people to do that stuff.
Well, and at what point are we caught up and you have the staff to do it? I mean,
So all that part-time money is scanning those documents?
it's supposed to be.
It was, yeah.
It's
Okay.
supposed to be one person, and she had, a lag this year where someone left and she didn't replace them right away, so she had money left, so right now we have 2 people that are being paid out of that 11,000. So we didn't increase it, but she has 2 part-timers that are sharing that amount of money.
Yeah, and I don't care if it's, 6 people sharing it, it's a pot of money,
Well, yeah, but
so.
I still think at some point,
Well, let's have her back down here and talk about that.
Yeah.
And what about the capital? You didn't put the capital,
her capital is listed in sales tax, so back on 111 or 116.
okay, so you put it in.
Yeah, those
in sales
recording
tax.
machines are in sales tax.
When we get there, I wanna try to approve certain things so that people can move forward on those when the budget's approved. And then anything that's not approved, maybe we put an asterisk by it or something so that
Sounds good.
people know what they can and can't go purchase.
It's easier.
So, 2 quick things just with their budget in general. So Judge Sodergren leaving, they have some office furniture in his office that he would like to purchase. I know Judge Walker is bringing his own furniture in, so they don't have a need for that furniture. So
That's his desk, right? He wants.
He wants his desk, credenza, and chair.
Okay.
So, we kinda have a policy right now where everything goes through surplus property. We have made exceptions in the past, if someone is retiring or something, we've let them buy their laptop or their computer or something. We've not ever had anyone
What furniture?
want furniture.
I don't have a problem with it,
So,
but how do we get a price, I guess, is,
that's my question. I do have a picture on my phone of what it is he
has
wants.
he made an offer? Or
He
has he
has-
wanted us to tell him how much and then
I
we'll
think
decide?
he's looking for, what do you want for it?
What's it gonna cost us to put a different desk in there?
Well, if Cotton brings his own in.
Well, so right now, we wouldn't be replacing the furniture.
What would it cost us to replace it?
I don't know.
$3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we have to charge it all, but
Very heavy.
chances are that desk is probably an antique too, so I don't know what kind of,
It might be, but I mean.
when we bought it, it might not have
You know,
been.
you know what it's gonna cost to get it out of there and put it in surplus where we might get $25 out of it, right?
So we're gonna have to move it anyway.
You get more.
Right.
You get more for that kind of
So-
stuff. You do for like a metal desk or something.
Sure, well, if you can get it out of there and dismantle it without, and then all the time that you got in doing that, carrying it up and downstairs or down the elevator, however it can.
Come out pretty easy.
However you-
Chainsaw.
We're not gonna help you move it.
No.
No, I think my lower back could take that.
Well, we can talk about that too. We can work on a price on it, try to find something that works for both of us.
Yeah, I mean, she can show you, I was thinking $200, but, I mean,
But I'm just thinking what it would bring on surplus, because if we sell on surplus, the way I would sell it is, you buy it, you move it, needs to be gone such a date.
we don't do it that way though.
So,
Oh, yeah, they have to come pick up their own.
I get it, but we don't say you're going into his office to get it and undoing it and taking it out. We move it out of his office, we move it into the basement of the
I don't know,
Carnegie
we've had
building.
some stuff we've moved
Yeah.
from.
We'll probably put that one out in the hallway.
The old refrigerator that was down in the old jail and stuff, there was some stuff that,
That's the furniture. Put your glasses on.
is that the biggest picture you have?
Yeah.
Well, there's the
I just guess-
credenza in the back too, so I mean,
Yeah, so it's the
Yeah,
desk,
that-
credenza, and the chair.
Tell them make us an offer.
I'm not impressed with, yeah.
I really don't know what that desk is worth.
Yeah.
If he's got an idea.
I mean, I don't think it's an antique by any means.
I don't think that credenza is.
And especially since Cotton is bringing his own in.
I was thinking 200 or 250,
Yeah, I think-
but that was just kind of my ballpark, but
Let me see, I can't remember.
$100 a piece for the
I'd
desk
take it,
and
but
the
it won't even
credenza
fit in
and
my office.
$50 for a chair, or the chair's probably not worth.
Wait, is he taking a chair? I could use a chair. My greenback is getting pretty ugly.
So,
Have the
I mean,
prosecutor get you a chair.
Think so.
what direction do you want?
Have him make us, yeah, I think.
Have him make us
Have
an
him make
offer?
us an offer, yeah.
Well,
Okay,
you said couple 300, you said couple 300.
Yeah,
I mean, there's,
so,
you've seen the inventory of the surplus a lot more than we have, but have we historically sold it for? And if they're gonna move it, it's worth
I
having
was
it out
gonna
there.
say, anything you get over $50 is probably a windfall because
that's a big
lot
desk,
of
though.
times it doesn't bring a lot.
Depends if 2 people want it.
Right.
I mean, I don't care if we shoot him a price and say here, then,
okay.
so,
So,
300.
You're in charge of the inventory.
Cause for 300, I'd maybe go get the dang thing.
300. I'll shoot it
Cause
out
there's
there
a
and see what
desk,
he
a
thinks.
credenza, and a chair.
Yep.
I don't know what shape the chair's in, but
He's been using it for quite a while.
Yeah, it's not.
Well,
So-
he only uses that when he's in his office.
He's
Uses-
here a lot.
Yeah, he's here a lot.
He's here an awful lot.
So in the process, a week or so ago, last week maybe, We had someone from the courts call and say they purchased iPads from their law library fund, and the employees went to purchase them because they are going to replace them.
It's a never-ending cycle here.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
getting ourselves into.
Oh, yeah. Well, so the argument here is that the state purchased them out of the law library fund, not the county, even though we tagged them as county property.
I'm not sure if they
How
are.
does all that work?
It's,
Years ago, I
I
always
mean,
told them if
I
they
get
wanted
ti-
it
I get
insured,
tired of-
it had to be on my list.
I get tired of other people purchasing stuff, and yet it's a county asset. That's just not right.
well, so we've taken the approach here that we're recording their law library fund in our financial statements. So to us, it's being purchased with revenue that we're recording.
So they're giving us the money, and then we're purchasing it.
No, they have complete control over the law library fund. I don't, all I see is a monthly bank statement.
So it's a separate fund that we have no control over
So
and
it-
can't control the spending.
It's no different than the slush funds of the other, I'm sorry, the discretionary funds. Here.
I do have a feeling you're not
Are
sorry.
we drawing interest on it?
Their stuff is very different because even their state money that they collect on cases, we report on our financials. It is an agency fund, so it is not our money, but it's like it's being passed through us. Is that the judge? Maybe
Judge
I should
Joyce.
ask her.
Judge Joyce, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't on the agenda really, but I guess under budget, but. So is there? So then it becomes, we tagged it, so you're counting it as a county asset,
It is. It's
paid
tagged
for
as
by
county-
somebody else.
It's tagged as county property.
And so, I mean, if we went to surplus it, could we surplus it?
And what would it bring? Again, it's kind of the same thing if,
And how does it have to be wiped so that there's no
yeah.
information left on there? Who's gonna do that?
It's usually been Oscar's problem, not ours, if I remember right.
Their computers do get wiped by Oscar, not by Brian. So their computers, if it is a county computer that they decide to surplus, it has to go off to Oscar to get completely wiped, to come back to us, and then go to surplus.
How many are we talking?
I think there's four or five, maybe six.
So will these iPads be done the same way? They'll go to Oscar, get wiped?
I don't know.
You know, if they, I mean, if they need to.
Therein lies
they-
the problem.
Well, see, they need to, if you're gonna, if we're gonna do it,
If you're
then,
gonna send
then
it
it
to
needs,
surplus, I would say yes, it needs to go
Yes,
through
it
some
needs-
sort of process to be.
yeah.
If they get to take it home with them, I think they need to be wiped clean too. No matter what we do, if we either surplus them and sell them to somebody, or if we
Right.
sell them to whoever's using them. If they wanna save everything they have on there, back it up, they can come back and put it back on there. But I would say it has to be cleared.
Either way.
I'm not letting anything walk out of here without being cleared by Brian.
Yeah.
Whether you buy your computer.
What we sell is clear.
So,
What we
I
sell
think it needs to
is
be
clear.
the same
But
process.
so, if it goes to Oscar, does Brian check it and make sure that it's,
We can put that
We can ask
stipulation
him
on
to,
those,
yeah.
I guess, but I don't know if it happens any other time.
But they're replacing them basically. So one way or another, they're gonna be surplus.
Yes, their
So-
plan is to purchase new, so either way,
So,
but right now, I'm making an assumption, but they are the judges' iPads, and Donnell and Chris, I think, are the ones who have iPads. I think they want to personally purchase their iPad.
Then the next question is, what do we want, what do they buy?
Right.
That's why they call.
what's it
to
bring
give
on,
them a value.
what would it bring on state surplus?
We've never sold an iPad. Most of the time they're used until they're broke.
so,
We've had tablets or something. Aren't those kind of the same? Sorry, Chris.
Have what?
Yeah, so like.
But I mean, they're 5, 6, 7 years old. They're on their way out.
And we usually have them in groups of 8 in a box,
Yeah,
and you
there's-
get what you get. kind
There's
of
not
thing.
much value to them, I don't think.
I mean, I don't know, if you consider an iPad like an iPhone, I mean, even though you have an older model, it's still worth the
Well,
money.
and I'm pretty sure these tablets are 2016s or 17s. They're not old.
Well, get rid of
So,
them.
so in that, I mean, obviously
Oh, okay.
iPads, iPhones, I mean, all those things can be refurbished anymore, right?
Well, or they could be traded in.
Right.
Well, we can keep the same policy. Anytime we get one to get it erased, we'll put it on surplus. If they want it, they can buy it off surplus.
I mean, we ran into this a few years ago, and we kind of took the opinion that everything goes to surplus property if you want to buy it.
Right.
We have made, like I said, a couple of exceptions for an elected official or someone that's retiring that's been here a long time. Hey, they wanna buy this when they leave. We've made that kind of exception in the past. But this one, we have gone through this before with the clerk's office and wanting to buy their computers, and we finally drew the line and said, everything goes to surplus property. If you want to purchase it, you can purchase it out of surplus property.
I'm fine with just keeping it like that.
Yeah, if that's our policy, then.
I mean-
But shoot the judge a price on his.
You're not even funny.
Well, I'm just,
I get it. I think in that instance, we're gonna get more for the furniture from him than we would out of surplus from past experience. We don't know what past experience
I'm
is gonna
good.
be on
I've got a bunch of
a 2016 iPad or
I'm
whatever,
a
so.
sugar cookie
I mean,
guy.
I'm not an expert in that, don't know what that's gonna bring, so. And it just, I mean, an exception here and there is one thing, but can't just keep making exceptions for everything else.
I'll come back and bite us in the butt.
okay, moving on.
So what do we decide?
Surplus,
Sure, no.
Everything?
except for the judge's stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
When
Court
Donnell
service-
retires, she can ask.
Well, I mean, they can still buy them off surplus, so
Yes.
it's not
Court
like they can't get
services.
them.
Julie didn't come over, so I don't think she had any
Zero.
issues.
Sorry, I just killed one. That was more fun though. All right, keep going. Sorry.
Anything you see or want to change?
Oh goodness.
That's a better one. Many ones would be better.
Any big trials or anything coming up that want to affect any of this?
So yes, there are murder trials scheduled.
Debbie, hold that can of goodies up for me. I need a picture.
We have not,
Send it to Christie.
Okay. Yeah, close enough.
we have taken the opinion in the past that a lot of those trials go off before they happen. So we've kind of taken the, when they are scheduled and we know they are going, we will then move money in to cover those.
Okay.
We've also talked about the next time they have a murder trial, we're going to try to account for it in a separate line anyway. That we wanna keep that separate from their normal jury costs and not mingle it together, cause it kind of skews the cost of what we have to pay annually with a one-time trial that cost us $30,000 or $60,000.
And so will we set up a separate fund when this, when and if this Texas County trial comes?
Yes, my plan is like to sub-account the jury script line and add like murder trial or something.
Okay.
And as those happen, we'll put money in it to pay for them.
Okay.
But if that's not the way you wanna handle it, we can do it differently.
Is she not billing for the jury trials?
The revenue,
Yeah.
we've asked.
Hang on a second. What's that, Greg?
Should we take a break?
Yeah, everybody stand up and stretch.
My watch tells me, ding, it's time to stand.
I need one.
Oh.
They said, when you have a good back, you gotta get up every 45 minutes. When you got a bad back, you gotta get way before that. You gotta get up every 10.
Oh. Oh.
Appreciate it, man.
They're special.
Okay. Just, yeah, if nothing else screwed down, and tape it to it, and I'll find it.
You think you can jump on me?
I think he did, yes.
Well, everybody else is commenting that he did, so.
Well, I don't even understand why he's so upset about it.
I don't,
He's getting
all I
paid.
said was they're special, they're always special.
But these people are getting, I mean, he's getting what
I
he
just wanted
wants.
clarification, because I knew they weren't understanding what they were saying, he was saying.
I'm ready to go to the point where
Pay them,
you get the holiday, if you work the holiday, you get paid. Done.
pay them all the holidays,
Hmm?
just pay them on all the holidays.
No. If you're scheduled to work, and you can take the day off, you get the holiday.
Do what now? If there's a schedule.
Like, you pay them if they work, but you don't pay them if they're not
What
scheduled to
about
be here.
well,
You get the day.
I don't care.
I mean, I don't know how to fix. I don't know how to fix it.
I would think that this would only be for people that are close to the 96. They still got a whole nother year to use it up. Either like that, so. You want everybody to get the 8 hours. So long.
And, I'm sorry, I'm not going in and budgeting for 8 hours per person.
I'm not doing, I mean,
There are things in there for a whole year.
those are big departments, the fluctuation within those for
Right.
the year.
Right.
Will be impossible and time
Oops.
consuming and worthless to.
Right.
Well, I don't, you're gonna have to go down and calculate their per hour amount, and then take it times 8 hours, and add it to each step. It's not worth the.
No. I should have said, I never gonna say it till afterwards. So then quit calling me on the weekends. And quit sending me emails and texts about who read what, who got it. I didn't say it. I don't think of it.
If Christy's listening, you know, she tells us to wash our hands all the time, so I wash them and they're chapped. So besides the fruit, we need to have, bring some hand lotion to keep our hand, cause I really, Linda's coming down with a cold or something, so I'm being really.
No, no, I don't think so either.
It is what it is.
And that was Jeff, fruit.
No problem. You gotta drink more during the winter time anyway, you become dehydrated.
No, but when
There,
you go
it
take
just
that
looks
job,
better
you
that
know
way.
what you're taking on. Without sitting in a position like that. Right. That's part of the commitment you have. Right.
What are they suing for? You're not gonna get anything out of it. The only thing they can sue for is the person who owned it. And we never signed a contract,
Why $10,000?
He just
probably
stopped
the
in.
number they came up with as their fee.
I think I'll wait till we bring, well, see, last week they were too green, so I was waiting for them to ripen, but that one might be a little bit too ripe. Don't know.
So, do we still have the other drone out to bid? Or has it been purchased too?
I have no idea.
That other drone, is it actually just out to bid right now?
It's purchased.
So the second one's purchased.
It's not here yet, but it's purchased.
I didn't even know the first one got purchased, or I thought we were talking about it.
Just FYI.
Then I thought the sheriff didn't want it, but that was actually
That was license
the license
plate reader.
readers.
Plate reader.
Yeah.
So I was mistaken
The
there.
only way we knew about the first one was the day they were standing out in the parking lot testing.
So when he buys it, he just goes writes a check out of that discretionary fund.
So
Delinquent tax fund.
their process in the system, they do enter them into the system, but their process does not go through any approvals other than Mark.
Well, that statute doesn't even say we have to approve
Right.
squad diddly, so.
Right, so they can get paid without anyone else really looking at them.
Okay. That's what I was curious how we, I didn't know anything about it.
It's
That's what I was trying to
county
remember.
asset, and we're liable if something happens.
So we are tagging it, I mean, we're tagging it as a county asset,
Right.
but we're not picking it up usually until after the purchase.
Why are we even tagging it? If he gave it to JCPD,
It's on our
I never got
insurance.
anything that said it was given to JCPD. All we got was that they purchased a drone. Now, where they house the drone,
They said it was down at JCPD, but when we asked to see it, they said, yeah, we'll have them bring it up here.
right,
so they flew it up here.
Well, it doesn't really matter, I mean, January
Well,
1st, it's Locke's drone, so.
Not really. If he gave it to JCPD, it was gifted to
No, it's still
JCPD.
listed as ours, because it's on our insurance. That's what Rick Knott's the one that pointed out to me.
Hey, you can put my car on your insurance. It's still my car.
it was on.
Well, but it.
Why are we insuring it?
It
If
needs to be accounted for come December 31st, right?
We've told them that all of their property that can be in the office should be in the office on the 31st.
it's not ours anymore. It's already gifted.
If we get a letter, so we'll
Yeah,
take it off of
right.
everything.
I have not been notified that we
Okay.
gave.
I don't
Zay
disagree with
or-
that.
Yeah, we need a letter.
So if it was gifted to him, then BA needs to just say, I gave it to JCPD. It's theirs.
Right,
In writing, yep.
and we ask them every year, do you still
You
have
don't-
the drone? Yes, it's down
You
at
don't get to
JCPD.
get divorced and get the ring back.
People do.
So Mark is no longer gonna be up there. We don't get to go take our ring back from JCPD. So if they wanted it and he gave it to them, well, if we can say a whole lot about it, so.
I have not been notified that we gave it to them. I have been notified that it is being housed there.
Okay, well, that's where I was mistaken, cause I just understood that we gave it to them.
Let's keep moving. Okay,
Okay.
so court services, anything else? No. Court security, 67. Does Downey
Okay,
have,
so-
yeah, no, does Downey have, no, does Downey have anything? He
He
kind of
didn't come.
alluded to pretrial could have some changes, but you guys are still working on a report.
Yeah, so how did we go from 4,000 of a budget or in revenue in 18 to
So 17 was
13,000
the,
in
17
19?
was the first year we started collecting, like charging people for the Lake Shekel,
Okay,
and it's kind of grown since
Okay.
then.
okay,
But the estimate is 13,000.
okay,
So that's the revenue side. And then
right.
the expense side has grown
Oh my gosh.
substantially too. I mean, we're at 31. And that's no salaries, that's just the lake shackling, their phone, their office supplies.
And I don't have a problem with that, cause it's saving us a ton from having to house them that we're probably not gonna get reimbursed for anyway,
So
so.
now what, so you're saying our expenses are 31, and what are those expenses?
The expenses is us paying for the lake shackle,
Okay,
us paying for the phones for the supervision people,
okay,
and their office supplies or things that they need to operate.
okay. And then what part of salaries is Richard Lee and other people that are working for pretrial?
We can look at that again.
Okay.
Part-time, part of it, part-time is 24,960. Excuse, according to that.
Can we get a breakdown of that? I mean, maybe we can go back to this, so I'd just like to see that separately.
Sure.
So the
90,000
is just that.
salaries, would that be
90
benefits
is
too?
the salary, not benefits,
Yeah,
so.
not benefits.
Okay.
Plus
so
the
we-
part-time?
No, then
No,
the
there's just the
additional,
two full-time.
so then the part-time that's in here is also theirs.
All of it? So you got,
Well, no,
25,000.
25,000. No, so it's 11 too.
That was police.
Yeah,
that-
those the top two. So 35. 35.
does
of
that
the
count
44.
our portion of benefits on them too?
No, their benefits are combined in here. It would only be social security and then $25 for
$52 a year.
Social Security, Medicare, so it'd be 7.5%.
Yeah, 7.65.
So what was that, 35?
35, yeah.
And then 90 in full-time salaries,
Yep.
plus benefits on the 90,
Yep.
and 7.65 on the part-time.
Yes.
Can we get a number on?
I do. I didn't bring it with me.
That's fine, I don't need it today.
Yeah, I have it
I
upstairs.
just-
Because
I-
I just did it with Richard this week, so I have it. I just didn't bring
Is
it
there,
along.
at some point, do we think we're gonna kind of separate those, or?
I want to say total's 149 with benefits.
Okay. Total
Separate.
expense, including the 31?
No.
Okay.
149 is just salaries and benefits.
Okay, and then the 31 would be on top of that?
Yes.
So we'd be at 180. Right? No, when you said 149 and 31, it'd be 180.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here, I could probably find it because I sent it to Richard last week.
Did you get your phone? Wait, this one card.
Yes, 149, 396.21 is salaries and benefits for full and part-time.
Okay,
So then you need to take the 31 added to that.
Can you phone me?
so did we ever, do we ever think that we're gonna separate those out of court security? I mean, just to be able to track that, or,
We haven't really talked about it yet. There are some other expenses right now that we're not, including, so like some of the drug testing, we're getting through drug court.
okay,
So there are additional expenses that we're not capturing at the moment.
Okay. So,
But right now, it's fairly clear here, I mean, if they get bigger or we start adding revenues or things to it, I mean, I think maybe we should talk about it possibly being its own, but right now, there's not a lot that the marshals have that's really co-equal, so.
okay. All right.
Child support. Kinda is what it is. I mean, Holly kinda told you where she's at, and she's getting
Right.
close to the amount that the state gives her, but right now, we're still within it.
Said something about computers.
Her computer, I mean, she's talking about using the money she had left this year, and then she has 4,000 in there for next year.
Okay, so she's got money
She's
for
got
the
it, yeah.
computers, she was just letting us know.
Yeah, I think just letting you know that she was gonna do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Your notes are better than mine.
So we did juvenile earlier.
Yeah, the thing is, we got everybody's buying computers, everybody's buying tires. It's like, can't we get a better deal if we don't, everybody's buying copiers.
I need tires.
You need tires?
Yeah, I need
We'll-
33.
We'll add it to Public Works
Stop
or
it.
EMS.
No. Next
Well,
is,
well, for our emergency management.
Sam, I
that's-
can't let you do that.
Emergency
That would be
management.
dishonest.
next is coroner. His professional service amount hasn't changed since I've been here. I don't know if that's something you all wanna talk about. Otherwise, it's just autopsies and is gone.
I thought we raised that at some point.
We did.
Talked, we did?
I mean, but
It's been a long time ago. I think it's prior to me.
no, I don't think so. He came in here, or,
Yeah.
it could have been longer ago than I think.
I thought we
What's
increased
his-
it at
what's
some
his
point.
last name?
They're off, right?
Yeah.
He hasn't requested it, so I say leave it alone.
It's not gonna tell you there because we did. It's only gonna go back to 15.
Just don't give me the detail.
So 37, but the 37 you were bringing it up and doing quarterly, weren't you?
Twice a year. 15, 14.
So 13 was.
74 still.
11.
Been a
Don't go
while.
back
Yeah, that's still the same in
You
10
know,
there.
it's only gonna show you what,
not past 2000.
we'll go back further in the system. It should go to 5.
Yeah, gosh, it has been longer than I think. Well, it was 30, 36.
It was 8 whenever it went
34.
up.
Well, so it was
Well,
68.
I thought we had talked about it
68
before, maybe we
was
did.
I got the file.
I've talked to
We talked about it last year, I think, but we never.
It's been longer.
Well, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I
then.
talked to Carl at Cocktail Party. He complains a little bit, but I think probably he should come before us with a request.
But it's been since 2008, it looks like.
10 years.
How many does he have to do? Do we have a number on that per year?
So it varies from year to year, but this year so far,
So that's doing the autopsies or just declaring them dead?
No.
Medical examiner, is that different?
he does not do the autopsies, we contract them out.
Those ones we send to Columbia and
But he does have to go like claim the,
So if there's
Yeah,
something
pronounce.
happens, he goes and in the middle of the night, gets called in, and probably after Sam had some cocktails with him, and then he's gotta get an Uber to drive him there, so
So,
in
If we
trouble.
ever have to get another one.
4,
it
5,
costs
6,
us-
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 20, 21. So far this year. And it's only if it's a suspicious, this is just the suspicious death ones that he has to do an autopsy on. That's not if he's going out just saying yes to this person.
Oh, that's on autopsies was 21?
Yeah, that's just the ones he has, suspicious deaths that he has to do an autopsy on.
And any kid under 1 years old,
1 years?
1 years.
At the Walmarts.
How
1
many,
years.
how many deaths does he have to go out on every year? Do we have
I
any
don't know,
idea?
I don't have that
So
number.
that's what I'm curious too. Does he have to go declare them?
Yeah?
I mean, I think
Dead
car
on scene.
accidents and things, I mean, he has to go,
That can add up pretty quick. I personally, he's not made a request to increase it. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Yeah, I think if he wants some more, if I see him again, he's, you can always send us a letter or something like that. But it's kind of like the pauper funerals, you know, the funeral homes now are saying it's not enough, and it isn't enough, but you
well,
gotta-
I just brought it up because it had, like I said, it hasn't changed
Yeah.
in a long time,
Yeah.
so.
Move on. Did we ever get a PA?
No, I have not received anything. I sent him yesterday the Excel spreadsheet that we have to kind of, he wanted to do a comparison and asked me to send him mine, I did that, so I have not received anything else yet. Wanna skip him first?
Sure.
I mean, most of it was salary stuff, I mean, I
Right.
don't think he had anything else. Page 80 is just the transfer from, we'll pull that one up, because that does have the IT person in it. 165. Go to the notes. So this is the transfer to the law enforcement fund annually. The difference this year is that 30,000 in IT salary is coming out of there before we do the transfer.
Where we at? Sorry.
165, page 80.
That's basically the admin cost for the law enforcement, or well, what we promised, I guess.
So the revenue as
This
it
is a
was.
2,040,000 less our admin fee?
Admin and computer services, and then now an IT salary supplement.
Okay. So it's coming out of this instead of going into his and coming back.
Right.
Does this have that 50,000 for pretrial in it, or?
No, so he wanted the pre-trial in his budget so you could see it, so it's an actual line where he has to pay it back.
Okay.
Emergency management. Bill obviously had some changes that he wanted to make. He
But-
gave you a list.
Yeah.
Increase $60 in the
I
equipment
mean,
service.
basically, I was a no on all these.
Okay. He did come up with the.
I'm just one here, so, I mean,
Well, I'm just saying, he also had that 5,500 for painting, which was not originally in his capital, so it is not listed later on.
He did say though that the radios, was that it? No, the battery replacements did not need to be on there anymore.
So the 4,000 in siren battery replacement that's on the sales tax list right now on page 111 can come on.
But that reverse 911 was quoted 22,000.
Yes.
so he'll have the reverse 911 and then the painting
Yes,
and the capital.
yes. And the reverse 911's 22, not 16. Is it, no, is it?
That's, I asked him twice this morning, 22 and then 10,000 every year after that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I wrote no on all these,
Might
but
ask him again.
the only one that may require more discussion, or we can discuss all of them, but the pasture maintenance repair of the outdoor warning system increase.
Do one.
Oh, the last one before you got to the painting.
So click on that emergency fund So he has been putting in there,
I mean, is there a maintenance agreement there, or are we paying for damage as it happens? I mean, we got insurance on those,
go
or,
the activity.
I've had a lot of them struck by lightning.
well, stick up in the airways.
I know. But I mean, we really, it's,
I'm sure that probably
I
happens a
can't
lot.
stand them things. I won't even want to talk about them.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
The bad thing is that a lot of people like them, so I'm like,
He does have somebody that comes like annually and just kind of checks them over.
Okay.
And he does pay for that.
ding dong, tornado.
But that emergency account has been in the past more of just
Separated two.
God, I missed it.
There's that outdoor.
So bring some firecrackers in here. Everybody going.
Oh, we did 4 pounds of tannerite the other day.
Did you?
And about 110 yards, that shook the deck.
That's a lot.
I know, I was like sitting there going, man, do we need to put that at about 200? Says on there, at least 100. I was like, 110's more than 100, we'll be all right. And Kathy was worried about our windows.
Isn't this probably like a half a pound?
I don't know, they come in like a Gatorade bottle,
Oh, do
like
they?
that's about a pound, so 4 pounds is like that.
Oh,
Oh, you're-
It is, and you can watch on the video, just, you can see the shockwave coming towards you.
Oh, really?
It shook the deck, man, it was, didn't break any windows though. I'd have been probably living at my own house if that happened.
There was a lot of repair work to a lot of those sirens all over the county. And we did check into insurance, but what the premium was not going to cover. And the ones that were Warsville and Taos and different people that owned it, they were supposed to pay their part of this bill. So the part that we paid was just our part. And so there wasn't really any sense of setting that through insurance.
okay.
but that's kind of,
Whether it should have been paid there or not, I don't know.
well, that's why we left the 2,000 in the emergency line, was for things like that unexpected costs of that maintenance or upkeep of those. I'm not really sure what else, if anything else, that he pays out of that emergency line.
Okay, so there's no maintenance agreement for somebody to come, it's just for repairs?
There is an annual maintenance, and it's in, I think, his equipment service contract.
Okay,
But this year, they actually found things they needed to repair.
okay. And then batteries and stuff that we've replaced in the past, is that,
It's come out of capital.
Okay.
If we're doing like a mass,
right?
yeah.
Did we try to do half
think we
one
did.
year and half another
He
year?
was trying to, yes.
Yeah, and he said that he's replaced them all now,
Yes,
so we
we
have a
should be.
break in.
Okay, before we start replacing half again?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so I'd say 2,000 would be,
So we're talking about 53855 right now.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I think if he wants it to be 4,000, that would bring us into maintenance that we've had for last year, give us an idea, and that's what you had up there, correct?
No, that was just like a repair job for.
Oh,
stuff that we-
okay. But if,
the
I mean, if he
maintenance.
foresees the
go back
repair
to
of the outdoor
17,
warning
they had
system,
there,
then if
so.
we know we're planning on probably having replaced 3 batteries or
Something going on with
do
one.
this to it
It's only 300.
and justify the 2,000.
Generator repair.
Either that or do we wait until it blows up and then we have to come
So really,
back
that
and.
emergency line, if you go back to 17, he's just using it for like, the things that come up that need to be done. I think he had a gas meter that needed to be repaired, that 677. He obviously had something with the outdoor warning siren that needed to be repaired, 340. So it varies from year to year as to what it is or what.
so
A generator.
Cummins
repair.
Mid-South generator repair, that doesn't even have anything to do with the warning sirens, that's just a,
Well, I don't think the emergency
Okay.
line's just like emergency equipment and if there's repairs or things
Right.
that need to be done to it. I don't think it's designated to,
I mean, if there's big stuff that comes up, we can pay it out of capital or we can transfer money in, but I mean, to just put a lot of fluff in your budget just for what if, it really isn't the right way to budget.
well, and his budget has over the years gotten tighter because we pay a lot more of the share. We used to get a lot more grants and things like
So I'm
that.
saying we're
and-
getting less, so
Yeah.
now what was nice, we got it for free, we're paying for, so.
Right.
What goes around comes around. So it's just like giving Christmas Eve off, you know, you think that's a good thing, nice thing, easy? No.
But at least we can have some laughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't even put the
We're
still
$98,000
jolly.
in yet for the emergency management vehicle yet.
No.
Yeah.
So-
I'm gonna go down to Cape Troy, or I'm gonna call our presiding commissioner.
Okay, Parks
So-
and Recreation, or you still got some?
Did you say no to all of them too then?
Yeah.
Alright, so you got 2 no's?
Yeah.
Alright,
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just gonna nitpick each one of them and go through them, so. Parks and Rec.
They didn't really have anything, but we probably should talk about that reimbursement of personnel service and whether or not we want to contract out some of the grass mowing or leave it.
Well, this is for the 3 parks,
Yes,
right?
yes.
3.
Brooks,
Brooks.
County Park, and Thanen.
Thanen, yep.
On Brooks Road, not to be confused.
Yes.
Well, but then well, in the past too, they've also done RINs,
I was gonna say, we got rid of a couple things.
but, I mean, I don't know where they kept track of that stuff. I mean, I think somebody was mowing all that stuff, so I think it was probably all being tagged to parks, but there's a roundabout at Bighorn that it gets mowed, that I'm sure while they're mowing the parks, they mow it. There's some other little properties that they mow that we own that,
Didn't we get rid of most of those though? We got rid of the ones in Osage City.
that's just the only one.
Friends.
There's
Right.
one,
There was another one that was like by Bighorn or by another utility. Did we
That we sign it over to.
to somebody else?
oh, the property
That adjoined.
joining, yeah, to those owners, but we still own the,
I assume that,
we still have one at, Frog Hollow and Rock Ridge, property there. And then we have a property at Brookside.
by the park.
No, Brookside, it's, there's some land there that's kind of behind that, I think there's actually 2 parcels there on both sides of Brookside. Not Brookside, it's Brookview Circle. It's over off of Rainbow and, between like Rainbow and Business 50, there's some land in there, so.
A lot, or I mean,
That's
something
where
we could
Brooks
sell.
Park is.
Yeah, but it's, so Brooks Park is there on Arden, so that's up. So you go down to, get down into Business 50 and then you kinda, what's that road that goes there by the, think of the name of it. Anyway, turns right there before you get to Pioneer Trail and it goes up and,
Gateway?
Gateway, yeah. And it goes through and it comes into Brookview Circle. Am I calling that right?
Yeah, I
Brookview
got it at
Circle.
Brookview Circle.
Yeah.
It's about 2.6 acres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a lot of land.
There we have.
Yeah, I think there's a lot on one side of the road or just some right of way or something that we have to maintain. And then there's kind of we've looked at actually putting a detention basin on this property. It's kind of a low line area. It backs up to Pioneer Trail. There's
Well, we need to talk to Larry about because I still have the old Lowman Road too. 5 acres of them. Is that right? Is that where you were talking about that circle? That land behind the turnaround? That we supposedly gave away?
5203 Old Lowman Road.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that's actually at, but it was,
I thought it had to do with that roundabout we put in there.
well, there's a
Turnaround.
roundabout there, but that's not 5 acres. I mean, there was a little bit of right of way that we had on on some corners there, but I thought we gave that to the landowners.
I need to check.
And some that, was on Gary Bim Bim's
That gas
lot there, a
station
gas station, yeah.
That's what I
He was
thought.
mowing some of that too.
Thought we got rid of that.
Well, I thought we did too, but Debbie still got it on her
Which
insurance.
doesn't mean that I got followed through with it.
The, attached to the gas station or across the street?
I thought it was across the street behind that one house, but I didn't know.
I'm pretty sure we got rid of that.
Okay, I'll check.
So it's, I mean, the 18's in there, that's what we have been paying to Road and Bridge for them mowing.
Right, and so there's a whole lot more to the mowing than, I'd like to think it was just mowing. But they do check the parks 2 or 3
Bathrooms.
times a week, bathrooms,
Right.
trash, different things. I don't know how much that actually takes, but some of those parks, I'm sure that there's probably more trash on a Monday than,
Well, and we have added in the park improvement line in the last couple of years, that's kind of, if their guys go out and do something at the park, so like they need to work on the bathroom, or they need to fix a bench, or
right?
that kind of stuff, then that's kind of what we assume that park improvement money is for, is if they're going out and fixing, or, you know, cutting down a tree that's fallen down, or any of that kind of stuff.
Just some money to be able to do some things out there.
Plus, we bought some out of sales.
Right, plus we have some in sales tax, but we spend,
And that grant flows through there.
right, we spend most of our sales tax money on our portion of that grant, I think.
And pretty sure we had a line item on our sales tax brochure.
Right.
For the 100,000.
Right, but I think we used the bulk of it up front to do our match to the grant. So there probably is still money left in there, but a portion of that we had to match the grant money
Sure.
to redo Brooks Park.
What did we pay Sam Gaines to mow the park a couple times?
I wanna say 700.
Was it 7?
Oh, I got the wrong one here. It's not the construction, is there another one?
Yeah.
Is it called something
And it
different?
may be under gains instead of
Guess I gotta get out here.
Well, I was thinking it was 700 or something too, but,
Seven something.
yeah.
There it is.
Yep, $700.
Twice now.
What were the dates on that?
Oh, it's just September.
Sorry.
So that's 11/2.
Oh, that was the check.
Oh, you go back to the invoices.
You can see it?
Just
Well, yeah.
We go back,
October.
there's 2 of them.
That was October. Why does that do that?
Right there.
So there, you paid one and,
What was the invoice date?
And
Stop,
then-
go back.
Well, I'll give you the invoice. It doesn't say
Oh.
the month on that one, but,
that was for September, because it's dated 9/30 up at the top, the invoice date.
so September and October.
Was that a month of mowing?
No, that
That
was
was just one
once.
time.
But what I was looking at was when he mowed it in September, and so that was a month apart, so, obviously different years, but.
Didn't know when they did it.
So I mean, typically you're gonna mow 28 to 32 times a year, and so, you know, that amount alone, just mowing is over $18,000, so,
And that's just one part.
yeah. But if it hadn't been mowed a long time before they mowed it in September, and then they left it.
22.4 is 32 times.
Right. But if he did it a month apart and it was a month prior before he mowed the first time, I mean, you're not gonna get anywhere close to that. You're gonna, I mean, if you're mowing it once a month or once every 2 weeks, you're at 14 times. Maybe less than that. But in the growing season, you're not gonna be able to let it go that long. I mean, or you're gonna have to brush hog it.
Or cut it twice. So,
Right.
knock it down and then come back and actually cut it.
I mean, there's a big difference there, but I mean, if you did it 14, that's only 10,000. So I'd say you probably almost have to do it 20, at least 20 times.
So our 18 isn't that far off. I mean, if
Not
you're
really.
doing other little things like emptying the trash or
Mhm.
checking the bathrooms or
Right.
that kind of stuff. So do you wanna leave it the way it is and have them continue to do it, or do you wanna look into other options?
I'd leave it alone, and then if we decide to do it different, then we just pay them instead of,
Okay.
or pay our other option instead of paying them. I mean, if we could get it done for 14, I think it's worth looking at.
Right.
You're just
And it
gonna-
frees up those guys to do other
You're just gonna have
stuff.
to go through the bid process, cause you're probably gonna be
That's fine.
90 days, you're gonna,
Mhm. Well, but then the question becomes is, how much time are you going and you checking on trash and bathrooms and
So if
toilet paper and so.
But they got people driving through there most all the time anyway.
That's
so
what I
they
would
can-
think too. You-
So for 4,000 and you got 14,000 still in there for grass cutting, the way I look at it is the 14,000 for the grass cutting frees our guys up to actually do road and bridge stuff.
You would hope.
Now, that's a different story.
oh,
All right, well, the auditor is gone, now we can go back to her budget.
Oh, thanks,
Well, that was quick. All right, where were we? So we're leaving it alone,
Yeah.
but let's,
Yeah.
I mean, we got a bunch of different things, and I mean, it's even some of these, like the nurse practitioner or some that we can put, if we can find room, we can put it in the budget. Hammer out all the details later on.
well, so I'm hoping that after today, we will hopefully, before we meet again next week, have some updated revenue numbers that we can adjust those some and know exactly where
Are we done?
taxes are coming out.
Are we done with what you wanted to get done today?
Nope.
How many, what other ones did you wanna get done? I forget what you said general revenue.
I'd like to get through, at least Public Works
Okay. Let's get
and
going.
assessment.
Okay, I'll try to stay focused.
All right. Well, what did Larry have?
Sit try.
I didn't really see a whole lot of.
I only had a couple written down, so so I guess the revenue is kind of what your opinion is on whether or not we should include those revenue items or not. My opinion is in not knowing what they are and their small amounts to not include them, in the budget. They still get receipted in those lines and they still get tracked from year to year, but I'm not counting on them in my revenue number that I'm using because right now they've built none of it. And I would guess that they're not gonna get them paid back before the end of the year. So the revenue this year is going to be almost nothing.
Yeah, it just seems to me like the revenue should be higher for those items that, I mean, I gotta think that we're doing more and we're maybe just not recouping the cost, so.
Well, I'm a little concerned that we're not billing it in a timely manner either. So, you know, I would think especially with like salt usage and stuff, you would be making sure that you're billing in April when you're done with the first part of the year, and then you're billing again maybe in
Oh, to
December.
the cities?
Yeah. And like, what was, signs, I mean, it looks like they're billing it, but we're only at like $389 for the year. I don't know that that's worth
fuel, but not really varies based on price.
I think they just brought that one up. There was one more.
I mean, I think for me, it was
That
just
was the
kind of the
road.
mowing and the salt materials, I think.
Road material.
And some signage, so,
The mowing was the other one, yeah.
I mean, that stuff should be billed maybe when it's done. So I'll talk to Larry and Larry about it.
So you go with leaving them out this year and maybe trying to get a better handle on billing them more timely so we can see what they are, or?
Well, because we're not, we didn't even see a whole lot of revenues from the previous year, so, I
Right.
mean, there's no history there, so,
Right.
yeah.
So the one we know for sure that needs to get added back in is that building supply one that I told you was.
Right, that 4,500.
Yep. And then I know for sure the 200 in the electric needs to be added back in. It needs to go from 1,400 to 1,600.
Okay.
Those were the two that I wrote down that
Okay.
have to go back in. Did you guys have any others that they brought up that you want to talk about? I mean, the part-time is what it is. If they have a bad winter, it's gonna be what it is, but they haven't used more than 40,000 in over 5 years.
And they haven't ever really used a whole lot of part-time for, for snowplow.
Right. It's mainly summer,
Right.
it's pretty consistent, but snow plowing's just kind of,
So I think they had indicated to me that they would probably have one gentleman retire, and they might not fill that position. So we may be looking to do more part-time snow removal type stuff in the future. But those should offset, so I'm not concerned about that.
and then they had equipment service contract, but I'm pretty confident with what I put in there that it's gonna cover their costs.
Okay?
Professional services, they were fine, organizations. Uniforms, they said they were fine.
Did they need more money for organizations, or?
Well, I'm not really sure. We have a remaining balance of $576, so I'm assuming they're okay. But,
Remember
Okay.
what they said if they did.
yeah.
I didn't mark anything about it.
So, I mean, uniforms, they said they were fine. Electric, I agreed with them. And fuel was just kind of be aware if fuel
Right.
prices go crazy.
It's
what
gonna
happens.
affect a lot of departments.
Right. So, anything else?
So what kind of hats are they getting for $50?
I have no
Is
idea.
that like
I-
one?
I did not know that they were getting that.
I mean, I don't know. When I buy a box of hats, it's like a couple $100. Must be going the wrong place.
If they're
It
just
says
plain
at the
hats,
top
they,
now
Might be
it's
stocking
hats. They
caps.
didn't before.
See John the other night at Wheeler
Yeah.
with his stocking cap on. He said it was colder than out there at Collier Court.
Oh, he's a little soft, though.
Yeah, but all his deputies all had the stocking,
If you're listening, Wheeler, you're soft.
his deputies all had the stocking caps on too.
No, I don't have any other issues on Public Works.
Their budget is one that we have a deficit built in every year.
Yep.
I did make them cut things out of the budget to
Right.
include the salary adjustments that are in there. So, you will see a deficit no matter what, but we did make them cut out enough to cover the salary adjustment. So when we look at salary later, keep that in mind.
Where are you showing the deficit at on that?
Carry
You have to
forward.
take the cash forward and the contingency out, so the deficit's gonna be the difference between.
Okay, I know we've looked at that in the past, and it's
Yeah,
always,
so if Debbie just zeroes those two out. I can't see, sorry.
So contingency's right
They want
at
Jeff Fox.
2 million, cash forward's 2.5.
About 500,000.
Yep, yep, and I told them that's where I didn't wanna go above, we were right at 500, did you add those two things in? Yes, so the two, they were right at a $500,000 deficit,
Okay.
exactly. So the two items that we talked about that needed to be added back in.
Yeah,
needed
4,700 back in, yep, okay.
And that's always, she does very good at estimating the carry forward, but it could fluctuate.
Right.
Yes,
And that's typically where we've been, maybe a little higher with Public Works in the past. a
right,
little lower.
we've tried the last 2 years to really cut them back to that 500, I think last year they were 524.
Right.
You know, we've tried to start cutting them back to closer to where we're supposed to be, because their budget is probably the one that has the most swing to it. So they budget a $500,000 deficit, we're projecting this year they're gonna be at $174,000 surplus.
Right.
So you're at least $674,000 wrong in your budgeting,
Right,
so.
But
but they,
theirs
but
is,
they
uh,
watch it.
Well,
They
theirs
do.
is kind of, they could have a good year and a bad year,
Right.
depending on, very much on the weather.
Right.
Right.
'Cause they-
And I think that's why their contingency being higher than most is a good thing, because a bad year for them is not just like a couple $1,000s, a bad year for them is a couple
Several.
100,000.
Right.
Yes.
So,
And over
Fuel,
time they
salt,
Right,
chemicals,
right.
Overtime.
repairs.
Salary.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Nope, I'm good.
assessor. So, now,
Albie?
Bean made some significant proposals, but I think that we need to have more discussion about exactly what those numbers need to be.
Okay,
She had the 3,000 in training that I think is definitely gonna be
did she bring a sheet or,
decent. She did not.
No,
so you got notes on all that?
Somewhat,
I
yeah.
just made notes.
So 3,000 in training?
Yeah, so we talked about putting that training though in the programming line instead of the meetings, travels and dues, because really it's gonna be DevNet coming in, and
Okay.
that's where we're paying DevNet's contract from.
Okay,
So in the programming costs instead of meetings, travels and dues. And the other one really is just part-time.
okay,
And whether that is a contracted part-time with DevNet to help with the conversion, or that's part-time people, if that's multiple people for a short amount of time to get data entry done, and then maybe a couple of part-time people ongoing that help out in the office. I
Okay.
mean, we really need to decide what that picture looks like, because right now it's kind of, could be lots of things.
right. So would that all go into their budget then?
Yes.
Okay,
And right now, their budget, Debbie, if you wanna, their budget is balanced, so the cash forward equals the contingency. So the 3,000 alone is throwing them into a deficit.
right,
And right now, in their professional services, I only have encumbered in there the remaining amount of their Ameren one for Lewis, Reed, and Allen, and then an estimated amount that they do annually with Nunn Company and Newman Conley Room. So
Okay.
there is no George Sansosi, there is no additional agreement with Lewis, Reed, and Allen.
for next year?
Right.
It's just what's ever still open.
So right now, it's just the open amount of their contract this year.
Okay, that could change a lot then.
Yeah, it could change a lot, so depending on where we think that's gonna go,
So I'd like to see the 3,000 in there for.
so she did add that one in.
Okay. And then I'd like to, I think we need to add some part-time or,
Debbie, there's not a line right now, so I'm gonna have to add that line to their budget.
I'd like to add some part-time. I'd also like to add some costs for contracted services.
Up and above, the contracted services for the computer situation.
Yes.
The DevNet.
Yeah. So I'd say.
So I guess my question there is, do you want that contracted services to go into professional services? Or Or do you want that to go into programming so that it's set aside for their software?
Or is it gonna be easier to take back out of once we're done doing it? Because once we put it in there, if we don't need it in 2020,
Well,
when we
so-
do that budget at the end of next
So my
year.
concern at the moment is the things like the George Sansosi issue. If you put it into professional services, that gives them the ability, if it's not got a PO attached to it,
Mhm.
to go in and pay those bills and slip them through and not be attached to a contract. I don't wanna approach that. So I would much rather put it into their programming line and put DevNet contract services or something and assign it more to where it's tied to their programming for their computer and not just a general professional service.
Yeah, I think it needs to be tied directly to, that's what you had it being used for, was
Right,
DevNet.
yeah.
Saying Susie
Right.
or Ameren, however you wanna tag it.
So
That way
it's
we
kind-
can, it goes through here.
Right.
It's kind of what number are you thinking or?
Oh,
I'm
a million
thinking
ought to cover it.
20,000 probably on that. That's just a placeholder and it may not cost that.
No, it might cost more.
Yeah, good.
Well, while we're at this,
Yeah.
so go back in there.
Part-time.
Right now, I only have Clear Basin in there for 9 months of next year. If that is not a realistic estimate.
That is realistic. I mean, our go live is looking about August, September, so that could be possible. But a lot of things are gonna have to come into play to get that done.
Okay, because if you're thinking that's not a good estimate, we probably should up that amount and be closer to 30,000 or more.
I think that's a good estimate.
Okay.
I hope you're right. I'm a little more pessimistic on that.
What do you think of
I
I mean,
part-time?
it,
I just think
yeah,
it's,
what's your estimate as far as part-time beyond that 20,000 contract?
I'd rather put plenty in there right now to, because we have control over that, right?
Well, not over part-time.
It depends, you guys do have more access to that fund because, I mean, you could say yes or no. And I will listen to that, yes or no. If you don't approve a bill, you don't get paid because
Right.
this fund belongs to you guys, even though it's a
Right.
department head, or elected official that runs it. We already went to court to figure that out, so.
I mean, what is a typical part-time person, $11, $12 an hour for a decent part-time?
So I did have that conversation with Alvin, we were kind of thinking that, like, if you're just having a data entry person or something like that, we were thinking closer to 12. If you're wanting someone with a little more knowledge, like, if you need somebody that can come in and kind of sketch a little and things like that, we're looking closer to 15 or so,
Okay.
If someone with that experience in history, you're gonna have to pay a little more to get them to come in
Right.
to do it.
I mean, obviously, like to fast track that, so I think it's gonna take more than one person. I mean, I'm thinking 2 or 3 people and,
How many total hours are you thinking?
well, yeah, I was just looking at the
So-
max.
So, we kind of sat down and the conversation they threw out at me was 6 months, but it would be like 6 months at 40 hours a week for multiple people. But then,
Multiple people?
yeah, 3, I think, is what she was talking about. But then hopefully, once they meet that 6-month point, they're not needed after that. But,
So that's 1,000 hours, but what's the,
Let's stay under that.
is that,
well, that's what I said. I
where
said,
does the benefits come into play if somebody's working 40 hours a week though?
Well, it makes them eligible for SURF after 1,000. It's 31. We'd like to keep under 30 hours a week
Right.
for to stay out of the health.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking 3 people, 1,000
So
hours.
if you contract it out though to be 6 months and it averages out over the year to be less than 30, can you do that, or are you, because you're
You
doing
should
it at-
average it by the months they work,
So,
but it's hard to do that on some
well,
people coming and
how do
going.
you do seasonal out at Road and Bridge, same over the year? So I
Because
mean,
you have
can-
another argument there. You have an argument that they're seasonal. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
So they're
Yeah.
not counted anyway that way. Because seasonal are not counted, but
Right.
when I average them for the whole time, they're not counted anymore. Because there's no way, good way to divide the months, or weeks, I should say.
I don't know, I'm thinking we're looking at
How much?
$50,000. Yeah,
Yeah, you said three or so.
yeah, I mean,
The 50 was not including that 20.
Right.
So would it be more like 30
I
plus
don't know.
this 20?
I don't know, I don't know what the
What's that
20 is.
contract for? What
Yeah.
is that? Because if they're doing the same job.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that it? That's people doing it? Which we kind of thought that would make that everything up because then it's on them if there are any mistakes or something.
So, yeah.
So do we need
is-
to stand in recess?
Well, if we could stop by, if we could look at his salaries real quick, or you got to go, or,
We're talking about salaries. I gotta go.
okay,
I had till noon.
okay,
So-
you're good.
But salaries, I mean, when we talk about salaries, we wanna do all the salaries.
Right, well, you just wanted to kind of go through his,
Got your
changes.
spreadsheet?
Mhm.
Yeah, I've got one here, I can email it to you guys.
Maybe you could hit the highlights real quick before Jeff has to go, or I can fill you in later.
We'll be here Tuesday, right? Did we put budget
Did
on
you add it
Tuesday?
to Tuesday?
Yeah, we did, I think.
We didn't add clothes, are we ever gonna talk about stuff I should add to clothes? If you're talking other salaries at the same time.
Mox next.
I'll just go ahead and do it. If we don't need it, we don't need it, how's that?
You making a bunch of wholesale changes, Locke, or you adding, or?
Basically what
reducing?
I've done is, I've eliminated, right now, the way it's, written up, we've got 3, APA 1 positions. I've eliminated an APA, full-time APA 1 positions. I've eliminated one of those to bring in a part-time APA 2 or 3, that I can pay out of my own fund that sometimes is used by drones. That way, I can make the salary increases I think I need. Right now, it looks like there are $345,496.90 allocated to assistant prosecutor salaries. If I do it this way, I'm leaving a few of them pretty much the same. I saw where you guys increased salaries for the APA ones into the low 50s, which I think will go a really long way toward getting some of those good young law school hires attracted to coming here.
So that has not been approved yet,
Okay.
but it was in the proposal.
It's in the proposal,
Yes.
right? So, but what I have done on the upper end is increased based on eliminating that one full-time position and reallocating some of that money into the other assistant positions. One other thing I've got on here, Cole County does not currently take full advantage of the VAWA grant when it comes to prosecutors. And that's a discussion I had with a potential hire who's currently an assistant in Platte County. She does all their domestic violence stuff. And basically, when you have a prosecutor that you apply for the grant, if you have a prosecutor that tracks their time and commits 75% of their time to domestic violence cases, the federal government will reimburse 75% of that assistant's salary.
So we're not getting any of that right now?
We are not. And I don't,
Something to apply for?
that'll be a grant we can write. I actually talked to her about that some more as well. She would be more than willing to be the one who comes in and writes the grant. I don't know if we'll make it in time for this year, but for
Is
the
that
next
something you can get
upcoming.
reimbursed for after you spend it? So if we apply for the grant, it would go back and be
I don't know. I don't think
retroactive
it'd be-
to January
I don't
1?
think it'd be retroactive, but, and I'm not sure exactly what the deadline is on it now.
So
But,
saying we for sure get it, or is that pretty much a given then?
I would imagine, I don't know, I'll have, she knows more about it than I do, and I'm gonna be sitting down with her this weekend, to talk to her some more about that. But, at any rate, when I made the adjustments I made, to the salaries, eliminating that full-time position, going to a part-time position, it looks like we actually saved about $3,000. That's not including the potential grant reimbursement. So it could be as much as somewhere in the 60s.
So right now, those salaries include the ones that are being paid or funded from the MOU at the moment, so.
Oh, they do?
Yes, so
Okay.
currently the MOU pays for one full-time person and that part-time investigator, which are included in the salary of the part-time.
That's another thing I was going to mention, is that I will not be, I plan to eliminate the part-time investigator position. I know that Paul leaves December 21st, I believe, and I don't plan to fill that position. So,
Okay.
Will you,
Probably need to see that.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
will you
just
send that?
send that spreadsheet. and
sure, yeah.
I can forward it to everybody.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
And print it out or whatever.
well, and I will try to take it upstairs and plug in all the benefits and everything and compare totals.
Okay.
And adjust the MOU to just be a prosecutor, not an investigator as well, and kind of show where we end up
Right.
with his proposal.
So you're saying that there is currently one full-time prosecutor that's paid entirely out of that fund?
Yes.
Okay,
The position wasn't filled all year long, but yes,
okay.
probably 9 or 10 months.
Really? When did
They
it
just
take-
didn't fill it after he left.
The last one was Derek Spencer.
Oh, Derek was out of that fund?
Yep,
Okay.
We just took the lowest,
the last hire, I
the
think.
last hire, yes.
Okay. That changes things a little bit for me here. I didn't realize that one of them was actually paid out of that. So we might not be saving as much as I thought, but, with that grant potential, I think that
That's
in
good.
the long term, really help us out.
That'd be great.
So how many other grants do we not know about? We can keep Matt busy for a while.
Yeah.
Just the stuff we've come up with this budget cycle.
You know, that's a good question. I mean,
I'm sure there's more grants out there, it's just the
Yeah.
time that it takes to apply for them and the chances of you actually
And the-
getting them and.
And the solution to it's only a short-term thing.
$120,000 for somebody to look for that stuff for us, so.
That's
if
true,
we
but
got
are
some
they
ideas.
actually going to sit down and write them for
Yep.
us? Yes?
I have grant writers
Most
on staff.
important thing is, a lot of them are only funded for 3 years and then they expect you
Right.
to continue. it.
Right.
And that's what this county got into trouble with. We continue it without the funds.
Right.
So it becomes,
Well, that's with a lot of this stuff. I mean, we got these outdoor warning sirens and now we're having to take care of them too. And there's things that come up with them. But I just pick on them anyway because I don't like them. I think they're a waste.
Does anyone happen to know the Wi-Fi?
Cole
CC
County.
Annex,
Yes. Key or something.
and then it's CC Annex key is the password.
G or guess key?
Oh, no.
CC Annex is the name,
And-
and then the key is CC Annex key,
Oh, okay.
K-E-Y.
All caps?
No,
I don't think
It's
it
all
matters.
lowercase.
it's all lowercase.
Okay.
Case
Okay. So you're out here, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I
I gotta
get
go
a
pretty quick
part-time,
here too. I got someplace.
Hmm?
Can I get a part-time in assessor and then we'll be done? Are you thinking 35,000
Oh, I was thinking more than that.
with that contract service even in there?
That's just gonna be to type this stuff in.
I was closer to 50.
That's
but-
where I was at, was 50.
Danielle, we tried.
I'm not arguing we're gonna have to do it. I'm just frustrated because I thought DevNet said we'll transition, they'll just roll over, they'll talk to each other, it's
So-
done. And now we're finding out it's gonna cost us another 35 grand and 50.
Right.
to keep
So we're
stuff.
at 73,000 that we're adding to their budget, and that's no additional Ameren stuff. So they're gonna
Yeah.
put 73,000 in the hole, and then if we add Ameren ongoing, just realize
Oh, no.
that's an additional amount as well.
Right, but we need to talk to the other people
Yeah, we-
involved and they need to start helping.
Okay.
We can't keep putting the
Trying to
bill.
get
Pencil
all the
that, you
same.
can pencil that in, we can finish talking about it.
Okay.
You want that to
So-
happen before the end of the year, that conference call?
Ameren
Ideally, yeah.
I'll try.
I mean, if they're wanting to get paid.
I can't believe they're not
That's the
knocking her
thing,
door
that
down.
they're not wanting to
Yeah.
get paid. They're not even
I
calling
just
that.
assumed they were.
So after that, we're down to, we need to get through law enforcement, we need to get through EMS, we need to get through sales tax. And then we'll talk about salaries as well, so.
So we're back on for Tuesday after the agenda, and then Wednesday, Thursday. right?
Wednesday, Thursday. I talked to Judy as well yesterday. She sat down and talked with Jill a little bit, but, she has some changes to the salaries that she wants to propose as well.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you change the salary of a person that's already here?
Other than an adjustment, or what are you talking about?
Does
Like,
it higher or lower?
Could you reduce a current person's salary?
You have to have documentation about their work change, and I would pass that through Jill. Their position actually changed.
Well, so, yeah, she needs to come back in and talk, cause she's talking about the possibility of
She needs to talk.
no changes to salaries at all. So like even the COLA that we want to give, possibly not doing that. So I don't know when you want her to come back in.
So time frame, probably, we got this back on Tuesday, so we can.
Hopefully we can knock through
the
law
rest-
enforcement
rest of it
and
out
stuff
Tuesday.
Yeah, man.
Tuesday, and then maybe hit, for sure changes, we for sure want to do Wednesday, and then salaries Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we can, so maybe we can wrap up on Tuesday and kind of let everybody, give everybody a heads up where we got some questions, or maybe we need people to come back
Right,
on
so
Wednesday.
Wednesday would be like the day to,
Okay,
I need answers, so we can make sure we know for sure, yes or no.
okay. And then we do salaries and stuff on Thursday. Okay, good with that. And then should be pretty much done at that point.
Other than carry forwards, yeah, I mean, there will be some adjustments
Unless we have-
slightly to things
Right.
depending on where we are with last budget run and actual revenue. So we won't have actual cash forward balances until first of the year.
But that's just a, I mean, that's something we can't change.
Right,
So,
right.
But
So-
it will affect, obviously.
It will affect the bottom line a little.
right, but if we have other issues, we can come back in the next week and talk about them.
What's your date to the paper?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did.
But that's just letting them know that
Of the public.
That it's
Public hearing.
available,
Right.
Yes.
the budget's available now.
Technically.
Well, yeah, but at some point you have to publish like a viewing. Here's what we're anticipating that we're going to approve or whatever.
So many days before the actual budget here, or, yeah. Notice to the paper, I was going December 28th, but obviously I have to get it to him before December 28th. So I'd like to get it to him
So,
before we go to Christmas.
so how, what do you just send them a notice and they put it in the paper and then it's available on our website?
I asked them to come in here or email, you know, just a blanket notice so they know to call if they're interested in wanting a copy. So I really have not published it on the website, you know, usually I'll send them a hard copy of it up here or
We've been
email.
putting it up on the website though.
Well,
That's
our
what's up.
proposed is, but their changes are not, because we don't do it again until we're finally approved.
Right.
But I
So
mean,
really, it's a report we run out of the system of, here's where we're at.
If anybody ever asked,
Not in a long time,
right, but I mean, I could,
not since the.
I could say that we just, here's our proposed budget, you know, here's our ad that we have to run by law, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, I mean,
So
Did
the,
you-
I run the ad.
Yeah, the ad just has to say that it's available, and that they have to
Yeah,
contact the commission
yeah.
if they wanna see
Yeah.
it.
And it basically is, here's when the budget will be approved,
Right,
the hearing.
but I mean, I just think we just put it on the website, if they want it, they can look at it, right?
We're gonna have to figure out a report that
Scan
runs the
copy
way,
of it.
yeah, runs the way we want it, but
Okay,
yeah.
if that, I mean, if it doesn't work, it's not a problem.
Because it will change. And that's why I kind of like to hand it to them and say, no, this will change. This is not the
Okay.
final because of the carry forward
It's
Yeah.
fine.
and stuff, the grants and everything.
I got your, email, by the way. Bob.
You got it?
Yep.
Awesome. And I will say that one of those salaries I put in is contingent on who I can get, otherwise I'd be looking to drop it.
Mm.
Which way we're falling.
I think I suggested 66 on it.
I gotta get that little. Why we close it. Good. Or I'll get another.
I mean, it would only be if we're talking about someone in particular, right?
I mean, we may not use it, so.
Right.
Can I ask just briefly what, did Mark mention the drone the other day, or did?
So your, column N then is your proposed adjustments.
Yeah, so those are what I would propose, that's the one that would potentially have the grant attached to it, so
Yeah.
that would be the savings
I'll go
from the
grab
it.
grant.
Thank you.
That's the top assistant, like I
Right,
said, I think
okay.
that's probably realistically what we're looking at, to
Okay.
get somebody of that
Okay.
quality, but,
And then have you talked to any of the other staff here, I mean,
I am-
about staying or?
As far as I know, everyone plans to stay.
Okay.
So, I'm actually supposed to sit down with Brenda and Paulette today. Yeah, yeah. So, I don't see anyone planning to leave. The only support staff or the only non-attorneys I know who have left are, I know Paul Schlick is leaving. And again, I don't plan
They
to
haven't
retain
voted
that
yet.
position. So I guess that part-time APA3 really is
I think just
essentially.
voting to go out of session.
Hey,
Here,
I'm
remember,
gonna
it's
move we
anyway.
recess to 4:30.
Okay, so, second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Staying.